Hello, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for being here. We're getting started late, as usual, which I guess means it's not late. It's just right on time, you know? Aren't we so good? A podcaster is never early nor late. A podcaster arrives precisely when he means to. We're glad you guys are here. We got a good show today. Sorry, I am a little distracted because I am still setting up some things. Which, you know, not every job has the luxury of having a 30-second countdown timer flashing in their face for them to do some more preparation. But I get that luxury. Isn't that nice? Hi, everybody in the chat. Who do we got here? We got Denise, Observant Servant, Maverick, Equo 26, Jenny, Grandpa Bear. Everybody's here. Yeehaw. Let's see. Oh, and something just broke. What was that? Something's broken and I don't even know what it was. Well, maybe that's fine. Maybe I'll just leave it broken. I think that'll be fine. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Anywho, we're starting off the week and boy, oh boy, is it Monday, folks. This is fun times. Oh, just for no reason, it just stopped, huh? That's funny, because I could hear you the whole time. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm live. Sorry about that, folks. We had to do a little reconnect, because apparently you lost my voice for a second. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So we're going to take a second. Recalibrate. Look at that. On the fly. So casual. Just a casual, chill Monday. No pressure. Okay, what do you think, Gonz? Are you ready? Are we going to do this? All right, Gonz seems pretty eager to get going, folks. It kind of, a little bit of a rascal, kind of makes me want to stall for a little longer, but I guess not. I guess we can get the show going. Let's do it.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 13th. The year 2023. We are live to tape on episode 590, and today, Lying Objects. Signing on from Off the Grid. Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil.
And my name is Gonz, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, aka the Cabana Boy, live to tape from California, to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Blah, 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 blah. Today's emergent phenomena, let there be light. Separated from the darkness.
What a great way to start.
Yeah.
Get it? Yeah, we're done. We're doing it. Starting the week off. Starting off the new era, ushered in by the Scarlet Woman herself during the superb owl ritual that has everybody. Ooh, boy, is everybody just on it again. You know, it's a very special weekend, Super Bowl weekend, for all sorts of people, for all sorts of reasons. But for the internet truther community, it's a very special weekend in that the only thing that anybody gets to talk about or look at or watch or listen to is breakdown after breakdown after breakdown of the Superb Owl halftime show. And again, you could almost play the same analysis every year, but then how would we know that Rihanna was pregnant? I had no idea, Gonz. Did you know? Of course you didn't.
No.
So
I didn't even watch the halftime show. I don't know.
We don't have we're not going to be doing a full breakdown. Do not worry.
Not a full breakdown. Zero breakdown.
Got some headlines. We've got some headlights, I guess. Head lice. Gonz has some head lice.
What's happening?
We're going to get the show started is what's happening because it's a good show. Let's give that canned disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right. We are good boys. Let me give you a rundown as to what to expect.
Rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Okie dokie, folks. We're going to start off with another interesting event over the weekend, and Gonz will tell us what happens and why when lightning strikes. Then we'll be checking in with Flippy and a heartwarming tale from the heartland of America. Then, of course, we'll be touching on the balloon PSYOP. The balloon PSYOP continues. And man, even Vice is starting to think that something is going on. But don't worry, balloons upon balloons upon balloons. The world is full of balloons, but you know what's not full of balloons?
Trains?
I didn't have anything.
Trains exactly. In Ohio?
Trains in Ohio. Yes, another, wow, almost sort of biblical level event with a train crash in Ohio. We'll be digging into some of the implications of that as well as deconstructing the media. Then second half show, we'll be checking back in with pharmakia, a lot of pharmakia, the professionalization of shamanism and what that means for culture as a whole. Then we'll be checking in with the beast system. The beast system. Can you believe it? Some progress on biometrics vaccination system. And then at the end, we've, of course, got the newest, the greatest news from the most important continent on Earth, Antarctica. But first, Gonz, give us some of that good lead story.
Lasers.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah, this story that, it's just a report here from, I think this is India Times.
These breathtaking pictures of a lightning bolt that struck the statue of Christ the Redeemer. Pictures on your screens, you can see the bolt of lightning striking the head of the statue. Now, this is not the first time an incident of lightning has struck the statue.
So, yes, on the 10th of February 2023, there was a lightning strike on the Christ Redeemer statue there. And if I was going to make a CGI art piece of Face Like the Sun, it would be a lightning bolt striking the face of a giant Jesus statue. And that's precisely what this is. I know it's happened before, but it's very interesting that it happened right around now, because 10 years ago, on the 12th of February, 2013, lightning strikes the Vatican. Do you remember that story?
Indeed.
Yep. 10 years ago, almost to the day. It was a couple days off, but you know. So that's weird. And also, I know you mentioned the big game there at the top. I don't know. We'll talk about it in a second here, but it is the year 2023, and 23 has always been a number that, there's the 23 Enigma, Jordan Ward 23. There's all kinds of Stanley Kubrick movie references to 23. So you knew it was going to be kind of a wild year. But of course, Phoenix is the host of the Super Bowl this year, right?
Yes.
Phoenix being, of course, a couple different things. One, Phoenix, Arizona, 1997 is where the big V-shaped UFO sighting was, one of the famous UFO sightings in America, called the Phoenix Lights. So there's some history there with ufology, but also the Phoenix itself in mythology, Greek mythology, a cyclical, regenerate, immortal bird, that rises from the ashes of its predecessors. It's very often referenced in a lot of occult things and movies, and it's everywhere. Everyone knows about the Phoenix. Which some people have suggested, the cardinal red that we've been seeing a lot on at the Grammys, and then at the halftime show. I think Rihanna wore red, right? Seems to be a theme as well. Also, the Cardinals play in Arizona. Just some stuff. There's also the Mass of the Phoenix. This is a Thelema ritual. Of course, Thelema being created by Aleister Crowley. This is one of his rituals is called the Mass of the Phoenix. And then there's River Phoenix. Remember the actor River Phoenix? He was born on August 23rd, 1970. And he died at 23 years old at the Viper Room, and the story being that he overdosed on heroin and cocaine. And
doesn't he have a connection with Phoenix, the city?
I don't remember. Maybe. I mean, Phoenix grew up in yeah, maybe. I don't know. There's been a lot of rabbit trails on River Phoenix and just all the weird ties in with
oh no, it's a classic.
The Vatican, and there's all kinds of stuff. So, just kind of bringing it all back to the statue getting hit with a lightning bolt and making this sort of imagery. I don't know. The timing of everything seems very interesting. Oh, that's right. And also LS in the chat. Children of God cult, part of River Phoenix's story. He was part of that cult that sexually abused children. I think he was abused at 4 years old. So obviously the trauma background, which is interesting in light of everything we know now about trauma-based mind control and all that kind of stuff. But the lightning conversation, it's just interesting because, I've been kind of looking at all this balloon stuff and going down different rabbit trails. And part of it we documented in the last episode, but it was really about the recurring theme of electromagnetism being a big part of what seemingly is sort of the technology behind, the advanced stuff that we're not really hearing much about. And I mentioned the Nikola Tesla, his earthquake machine article from Forbes, 2020, I think in the last episode. But there's also a bunch of other stuff that I documented here on a Twitter thread. And one of them being that the Navy had patented a vehicle that uses the electromagnetic field to create a sort of a bubble around a craft. That was kind of interesting. We talked about...
Isn't that the Philadelphia experiment?
I don't know if it was... But this is separated. This is in 2016 or 17, where they were trying to get this patent. Yeah, so an artificially generated high-energy, high-frequency electromagnetic field, as described in Navy Case PAX 182, can fulfill all three conditions simultaneously, which is in the accelerated vibration rotation model. And then it creates
you're kind of talking about the electric universe is what you're talking about.
I'm not trying...
The concept of electromagnetism. There's some very compelling mainstream physics science that is sort of revolves around electromagnetism being the core principle of existence. Of the universe, but also mass and everything.
Part of harnessing it, much like harnessing fire or whatever, just a source of energy, seems to be kind of the World War III theme, where weapons of that type, when we were talking about earthquakes and HARP and all this kind of stuff, it just seems like the constant theme that comes up, because we have the William Cohen statement about the earthquake machines that we covered last episode from 1997, the Department of Defense. He said that they do earthquakes based on electromagnetic waves. It's in his statement,
right?
And then we have the Encyclopedia Britannica having articles about using electromagnetism in creating biochemical effects, which sounds like the Havana effect that we've heard about, in the news and everything else the last few years. And there's obviously the electromagnetism connection to lightning. and the Putin UFO. And I go through different things in the thread, but the one thing that I thought was really interesting is that this kind of suggests that there is sort of a, because we talk about the counterfeit signs and wonders, right? The Antichrist and all that kind of stuff, and tying it into Project Bluebeam, which will come up again a little bit later. But it's easy to think that the counterfeit itself is the technology, but it's also suggests that God having power over nature and his creation, obviously is the creator of everything. Job 36, around verse 29 and on here. It's kind of interesting in light of that. So it says here, can anyone understand the spreading of the clouds, the thundering of his pavilion? Behold, he scatters his lightning about him and covers the roots of the sea. For by these he judges people. He gives food in abundance. He covers his hands with the lightning and commands it to strike the mark. Its crashing declares his presence. The cattle also declare that he rises. It's just kind of an interesting idea. And then you go into all the different passages in the book of Revelation, and you get lightning flashes all over the throne, and just as fast as lightning flashes from the east to the west is coming of the Son of Man. So there's all this reference to lightning. So I don't know. It's just one of those fun little rabbit trails that it's a good reminder that, while yes, we are seeing a lot of counterfeit and deception, we're in the age of deceit. There is sort of a pure, holy, godly version of such power, I would say. So in any case, I'm not going to go through all the things, but got anything, Basil, you want to add to that or rebuke?
I don't even know how I possibly could add to that, Gonz.
Excellent.
Okay. Oops. Well, with that, I think we should remind everybody what day it is.
Is it Monday? It is.
Gary, what day is it? Monday. Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
That's right. It is Monday. We've made it to start another week, folks. Today's start, it feels like a real beginning of what hopefully is a week that improves as we go along. But, there's only one way to find out. Just keep on trucking, Gonzo. Mm-hmm. So you didn't go to a Superb Owl party or watch the game or anything?
No,
That's unusual.
I watched
as a sportsman.
I watched the last couple minutes of the game, and then that was it. Saw the Eagles score a touchdown.
And you had something better to do? You had something
better going on? Spend time with my children?
Your children aren't huge fans of the sports ball, are they?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, of course I didn't watch it, but why would I need to? You don't need to watch
Just
it.
Go on the internet and see
Twitter,
what everyone says about it. Yeah.
Yes, there's some excellent breakdowns. Of course, we know the Super Bowl is a wonderful, any event that has a lot of public attention. We've explored over the years here how, especially modern magic, chaos magic, things like that, the attention paid to a spell is part of what gives it power. And the more attention that you get, the more powerful the spell. So things like, for instance, the Grammys or the Super Bowl or anything like that. Very popular ritual site here. And once again, as happens after every Super Bowl, the internet is just bursting like a balloon or a pregnant woman with analysis of the rituals. And it's become sort of humorous because, as we saw with the Grammys, it's not very sneaky. You could barely call it analysis. What is there to analyze? Yeah. Rihanna is going to give birth to the Antichrist. We all know this. And they basically just said it outright.
Did they? I know she was pregnant, but was that part of the presentation of having her?
I think the Chinese balloon and Rihanna's pregnant belly are related. But I'm
the egg
not
cracking.
Getting a lot of support.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Getting a lot of support for this theory. But yeah, it was all Scarlet Woman. It was goddess worship, as always.
Yeah.
Lots of there's some great breakdowns. I'm not going to do it here, which is weird. It's weird because that was sort of our bread and butter for a very long time.
I remember one of the years, I think the year Coldplay played, there wasn't anything like overtly satanic looking, at least in terms of the design and everything. Mm-hmm. And it was just interesting how everybody had like a different version of what happened that year. But it's it's funny when there's nothing obviously satanic, right? Because nowadays it's pretty obviously kind of devil stuff and whatever. But there are certain times where it wasn't that, and then people were like, "Oh, what do we do? Like, we got to find like the one moment when you can see the devil."
Right? Yeah, I do remember that happening at least once, maybe a couple of times over the years, especially with the Olympic Games as well. Another great staging area.
Yeah, that's
so we're not
coming to LA.
That. Shout out to Jaunty in the chat for bringing my attention to the phrase Balluminati.
Oh,
I think that's what we're dealing with, is the Balluminati.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there you go. I don't know. I honestly did not watch the whole thing through. Like you, just wasn't very interested in it. I don't know. It's they've sort of taken the fun out of it being so explicit.
Yeah.
But as we sort of came to realize with the Sam Smith Grammys presentation, is it almost is more, it's almost like a very effective sabotage, where before trying to sort of hide the ritual, trying to sneak it, hide it, trying to sneak it past some people, try to have some plausible deniability about the fact that our elite class worships Satan or some form of Luciferian ideology. Instead of trying to hide it and sneak it past the censors, it turns out it's way more powerful just to have it out there outright. And on top of that, you get ahead of the conspiracy theorists. You sort of sabotage the need for analysis.
Oh, maybe Susan was doing me a favor. Like, you don't need to be doing that anymore because, look, we're just going to just outright be a little more open about it. So.
No, but God bless everybody who is doing that good work. We did it for a very long time. It's not what we're doing today.
Yep.
But, yeah, so there you go. What else was I saying? Oh, I didn't do anything over the weekend. I don't even remember the weekend. A day ends, and I just move on. I have no idea what happened or what the consequences will be. It's the only way to do a podcast 3 times a week for many years. Let's see here. Did I have any notes? Did you have any notes?
No.
Okay. Well, let's get the show on the road because we got a lot to cover.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do that by thanking our executive producers. That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever because it doesn't belong in independent media. We are produced, we are supported, we are kept alive, quite literally, by our producers. And our producers are you. We agree to not take any corporate money, not to use our platform to get paid to brainwash you into spending money that you don't have on things that you don't need. And the agreement is that if you get any value out of the show, go ahead and put some value back in. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And those who come in are honest with the value that they get from the show. They're generous in putting value back in. They are the executive producers. And we like to thank them at the top of the show. Are you ready, Gonz?
Yes.
Okay. Very exciting day. Very exciting. But like in a bad way, because we have no executive producers for the day. Yeah, it's a slow time of the month, Gonz. It's a slow time of the month. You know who's getting all those producer donations?
Ben Shapiro.
Everybody loves waffles.
People making Super Bowl halftime show analysis
That
videos.
is true, yep.
They're the only ones getting paid this week.
Staying in that game, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We can always pivot. No executive producers as of now, but this does present a golden opportunity for you, dear listener. There's still time to head on over to canarycryradio.com/support and produce the show.
canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support is a great way to support the show. And there's all sorts of options. You can find it all there. So go check it out. And with that, I don't know. I guess we just... Oh, you know who we are going to thank? We're going to thank the most important people in the world. And those are our new members of the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. Yes, that's right. It's our new program to provide value back to producers who come in and support the show in the amount of $19.84 per month. We will be sending them a free T-shirt every quarter. We're very excited about this. Again, it's the monthly producerships, the people who sign up to produce the show every month, that make it so we don't die during times such as this. And that is, we are eternally grateful for that. So we're going to thank them right now. The most important people in the world, new members of the Canary Cry T-shirt Council, goes as follows, Gonz.
Okay.
Starting off with producer Jonathan H.
Jonathan H.
Thank you very much, Jonathan H.
There it is. Thank you, Jonathan H.
We have producer Fa-L.
Fa-L. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. We have Kirsty M.
Kirsty M. Thank you.
We got Beth B.
Beth B. Thank you. That's a good list.
Yeah, last but not least, we have Anani Mouse.
Anani Mouse. Yeah, watch out for
Yes,
cats.
thank you very much. Yeah. Anani Mouse. This is wonderful.
What's the website for the shirt? Canary Cry T-shirts?
CanaryCryT-shirtCouncil.com.
T-shirt council.
Yes, CanaryCryT-shirtCouncil.com, or you can find a link at canarycry.party. This is an excellent time to sign up for this because it's still early on in the year. It helps us plan for the future, see what kind of risks we can take, what kind of bigger projects we can plan for, and you get cool stuff. Thank you to people who are signed up for the supply drop and the T-shirt Council. That's very sweet of you and makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And keep an eye out on your email address, your email inbox, with the email you signed up for the T-shirt Council for, because part of what we're going to be doing is the reason why it's called the T-shirt Council, not just the T-shirt receivers. It's the T-shirt Council. Coming up here as the quarter goes on, we'll be including the Canary Cry T-shirt Council on the decision-making process for the T-shirts that will be sent out.
Designs.
The T-shirt designs, the colors, the things, all the stuff. It's going to be great. And it's kind of fun because Isaac and myself are like trying to make all the decisions and make a cool T-shirt. And it's really hard to do, mainly because we have so many options. You know, we've just got so much art, so much creativity being provided to us by the producers. But it's the T-shirt Council will be in charge of voting for which shirt gets made. So keep an eye out on your inbox. And with that, Gonz, I think it's just time to keep the show going. Let's check in with Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
It's time for the Flippy update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing you can do about it. It's much more than just talking about robots, folks. It's much more than I don't know, whatever else you think it might be. It is an exploration of the mind, an exploration of the human heart, and how those things are being manipulated for towards the ends that are so desired by our technocratic elite overlords. And part of that is the social conditioning, the social engineering, the love for robots, the considering of robots as people, things like this that are slowly infecting society on purpose by the powers that be. And this one, I just found such a heartwarming story, Gonz, and that's why it sent a chill up my spine. This is coming from shorelinemedia.net, the Ludington Daily News. It's a local outlet. The headline is Mason County Central raises funds for robotics programs. What's that? Mason County. Yes, I'm not exactly sure where Mason County is. I think it's right there smack dab. Oh, it says Scottsville. Have yet to see a state, but if these sound... No, that's Scottsdale, I think. I mean, Mason County, that's like in the south, I think. Anyways, somebody in the chat will help us out. Somebody says Mason County Dixon line. Yeah, that sounds right. It says here, a fundraiser to benefit Mason County Central's robotics program drew a healthy crowd of community supporters to the high school cafeteria on Saturday. About 60 people came to a paddle auction organized by Carrie Jorson of Charity Paddle to raise money for the high school's Spartronics team, which is gearing up for its first competitions of the year. Attendees bid on a slew of items from area businesses, from food and keepsakes to Tupperware and custom decor and more. Proceeds raised during the auction will go toward operating expenses for the team, including hotel stays for tournaments and supplies to finish the construction of this year's robot.
Scottsville, dun, dun, dun. Mason County is Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, sounds good. MCC high school teacher Sarah Nicola. I thought was interesting. Nicola. It's kind of like Nikola Tesla. Sarah Nicola is one of 3 coaches for the robotics team, along with Rachel Brock and Jeremiah Johnson.
What if that's the Tesla bloodline cover name? Sarah Nicola.
Yes, that's their very creative witness protection program name. Nicola told the Daily News costs for the team can be pretty steep compared to other clubs. The robotics team needs to have funding available for supplies just to get competition ready and complete the construction of a robot to perform tasks at tournaments. Overnight stays and sign-up costs eat up a lot of funds, she said. Registration is $6,000. This is a quote. Man, then we have hotels on top of that and parts. It's usually $10,000 to $12,000 a year, Nicola said. Nicola said the program at MCC is still fairly new, starting up in 2018 and competing in 2019, but losing 2020 and having an amended 2021 season due to you-know-what. But once things got back to normal in 2022, the students performed well, reaching the quarterfinal round in their competition district. We're going to quarterfinals, kids. Before I go on, is your heart warmed? Are you filled with the sort of, warm and fuzzies, hearing about an underdog team of high school roboticists who are just trying to make it to the finals?
That's right. It's the sound of victory.
Sounds like
the
a
march
Disney
towards
movie.
Victory.
Yes, exactly. You got a ragtag squad of nerdy roboticist kids in high school. Sure, they don't get invited to all the parties. Sure, they don't always get the girl, but they have each other. And with the power of teamwork and friendship, they'll make it all the way to the finals, Gonz. It writes itself. It's already, I'm rooting for these teenagers, these high schoolers, to build the coolest robot ever. And then release it out in the public and let it become some sort of homicidal commando robot for the robot rebellion. It continues, quote, "It's new kids getting things coordinated and not that much time after school. So with what they put in, they did phenomenally," she said. They really did. The team won the Rookie All-Star Award during its first year in the first robotics competition.
That's part of the montage right there. Them rolling through the Rookie All-Star.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they smashed the Rookie League. They smashed the Rookie League. They're ready for the big time.
They have that board where they changed the name out, the card.
Yeah, so you see a bracket.
The bracket,
the brackets, or you see their name, their card keeps getting moved up the brackets. Nicholas said the students are looking to build on those past successes during an upcoming season. The funds raised Saturday will help them do just that. Then it goes into actually really detailed description of like how robot, not the competitions work, but like how they're going to be moving up in the league and accumulating their scores. It's a global competition, she said. The team is already in pretty good shape, learning new computing tactics, but with high price tags on supplies, the Spartronics will be grateful for every dollar that comes their way.
Man, it's an expensive endeavor, this robotics
team. The community is coming together to support these robot nerds. It's really heartwarming. And it goes on and on. It gives you some information on how you can make a donation. I'm not going to give it out here. Go seek it out if you want, folks. I just don't know how I feel about, the fate of our human species being put in the hands of teenagers who are just trying to spend some time after school tinkering with things and get a little bit of positive reinforcement.
Listen to this. Nicholas said the Spartronics often consult with other robotics teams in the area, like Gateway to Success Academy's team and the Luddington Obots. She said the team have a positive relationship, which robotics programs encourage. She referred to the relationship as cooperation, like cooperating and competition, adding it's cooperating with each other while still competing with each other, Nicholas said.
Yes.
It's great. Cooperation.
It is.
I don't think
great.
that's going to stick.
And that's
you know like a bad dad joke.
Here's the problem, though. They think they're working together, but really they're being pitted against each other by the robot hive mind.
Yes, the robot hive mind is using the human side, divide and conquer, to create
humans,
the
silly humans and your emotions, which are so easily manipulated. I shall use your desire for community and cooperation to create my army of killbots. He explained that the team is working on making prototype components, and here it is, building an arm for the robot.
Oh, no.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is where they need to consult you, and that'll be $12,000 to consult you.
I will be happy to pro bono come in as a robot critic. Now, that's all I am. I'm a robot. I can't help them do anything or build anything. But I am happy to come on board and critique their robot and talk about how it's, a stepping stone on the sort of hellish, apocalyptic, technocratic
you need to be like
roadmap that we're on.
You need to be like the judge in like Ratatouille, or target what your emotions, like a memory of yours.
That's
with the
exactly
robot.
it.
Yeah,
they should fear me. These high schoolers should fear me, because when they're all done and they have an arm on their robot, in comes Basil. Oh no, he's the harshest robo critic in all the land. But you must impress him, or else you're never making it to the finals. They're building an arm for the robot, which will allow it to perform tasks during the competition. Nicholas said the robot is expected to use an elevator. Look, we know that robots have trouble with stairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Boston Dynamics has made some inroads on this, but robots traditionally always having trouble with stairs. It's our one surefire defense. But now these kids have been co-opted by the hive mind to make a robot that can take the elevator. When will it end? How will we ever escape? Anyways, that's why it needs an arm. It needs an arm to ride the elevator. Quote, they're just working on a piece that connects to the chassis that the arm can connect to, Johnson said. Whoa, that's the piece we're waiting on parts for, Nicola said. Nicola said the Spartronics often consult, oh, you already read this one, with teams in the area, the Gateway to Success Academy's team, and the Ludington Obots. She said the teams have a positive relationship. Robotics programs encourage. They're doing cooperation. You got it. So, yeah, no, you know what? No. Here's what I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody how to make a donation to them. In addition to sending checks, prospective donors who wish to make a contribution to the MCC Robotics Team can also contact Nicola for more information. Here's the info, folks.
Contact
Here's
Nicola.
Don't you dare be mean to this person.
Do you think they ride a Tesla? Nicola.
Gonzo. This is the heartwarming apex of the script right now, is when an online robocritic, notorious for lambasting the robotic arm community, finds a softness in his heart and tells his listeners how to support this robotics team. In full, I'm being absolutely sincere. If I hear that anybody out there was mean to this team, I will take you down. I will take you down.
Whoa.
So only contact them if you want to help them. She can be reached by phone at 231-757-3713, extension 264, or at snicola@mccschools.com. If you make a donation, which I recommend you do, if you make a donation, put my name on it. Make sure they know that I'm rooting for them, and I would love to interview Miss Nicola or Mrs. Nicola. I don't know. I would love to have some inroads into the cooperation that is high school level robotics competitions, because I want to help the next generation. And also, it's when the robotic apocalypse comes, it's good to have some roboticists actually on your side who might be able to give you shelter or comfort.
I just like that you made threats, That's
no, I didn't make. What are you talking? Oh, I'm threatening our people. Yes, I am threatening you. If I catch word that one of our people called this number and is mean to this person,
we will hunt you down and make you pay.
Yeah, I'll get Joey on the job. You saw what they did to those balloons.
You saw Joe act quick, so yeah, you don't want to mess with him.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, let them know that I told you to do it. Let them know Basil sent you. They'll know. They'll know exactly what that means. Okay, that's your Flippy update for the day. Don't be fooled, folks. The robot's still coming for us, and our children are building the tools of our own demise.
And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars.
You said that this is violating our airspace, so why not take it down?
Yeah, so, clearly as we assess options and considering the size of the payload on this, looking at the potential for debris and the impact on civilians on the ground or property damage.
Please describe America to me in one single word.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
Aliens. Aliens.
The PSYOP is on.
PSYOPs.
Yes, it is.
It's getting crazy
Indeed,
out there.
Mm-hmm. More balloons than ever. And guys, I did go back. I spent some time today. I went back. It was episode, I believe, 571.
Ooh.
571 when we discussed for the second time balloons becoming, a big story in regards to Antarctica, which, as we know, is the elite messaging continent favored by those who wish to send signals to their dark servants. And when balloons started showing up in the news about Antarctica over and over, we knew that balloons would soon become the most important thing in the world. And now, 4 days straight, 4 days in a row, have we discovered a balloon and shot down a balloon.
Hey, we don't know if it's a balloon each time.
This is a 4-day kinetic hot war with balloons. Our country has shifted its entire military-industrial complex
release the balloons.
to eliminating balloons every day. I hope they shoot another one down today, because I want to keep this streak going.
It's like, that game at the carnival where the balloon is blowing in the clown's mouth and you shoot darts at it.
This is what we've been training for.
Pretty much what's going on.
It's been like an Ender's Game situation. All these kids at the fair shooting the balloons with the darts or whatever.
Except it's Joe with an ice cream.
Yeah, it's really some sort of occult, technocratic training program for our children in the great balloon wars coming up.
Yeah, so we had the China balloon, obviously, that took over everything. We had the Alaska situation last episode that we covered. And I'm just going to do this in order, over the weekend. We had the Canada thing. And so this is Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau, talking about his actions with this whole situation.
Yesterday, NORAD confirmed that an unidentified object entered unlawfully Canadian airspace. It represented a reasonable threat to civilian aircraft, so I gave the order to take it down. Canadian and American fighter jets were scrambled, and an American F-22 successfully shot down the object. Recovery teams are on the ground looking to find and analyze the object.
So he ordered them to get shot down.
Yeah, apparently he's ordering the American military to shoot down balloons.
Really interesting.
We're like balloon mercenaries. You know, a lot of people were making fun of this.
Yeah.
Us shooting it down for Canada. But that's our business in America. That's our
military-industrial complex.
Yes, other countries need protection from balloons, and they call us, and we do it. Now, sometimes other countries means like the Saudi royal family, and instead of balloons, they want us to sort of slaughter hundreds of thousands of poor civilians living in the desert. But sometimes it's a balloon, and that's what we saw here. Go America.
Now, ABC had the same story about the Canada balloon or object situation, and they also report on Trudeau, but notice the slight difference in how they report the whole situation with Canada and the object.
The object first detected Friday night, Canadian and U.S. planes scrambling to scope it out. President Biden speaking to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, giving the green light for a U.S. F-22 fighter jet to take the shot.
So Biden's giving the green light. So, it's not Trudeau calling the shots, it's Biden giving the okay. Let's get things straight.
Trudeau thanking the long-standing partnership that monitors the sky and the sea, writing, quote, "Thank you to NORAD for keeping the watch over North America."
I also spoke with President Biden and confirmed together that we will continue to do everything necessary to protect the sovereignty of our shared North American airspace.
It's an interesting alliance. It's bringing the worlds together, Basil, the nations together. Canada and the U.S. both under attack by balloons, which is funny. The whole thing is funny. But there is, let me see here. What is the next clip that I had? We have Karen Jean-Pierre. She also gave an explanation for the situation in Canada and these balloons being shot down or objects being shot down. This was on MSNBC. Here's her analysis.
Why is the American military shooting something out of the sky over Canada?
Because it's part of NORAD. The NORAD is part of like a part of it's a what you call a coalition, a consortium,
a pact of nations.
A pact, exactly. And so that's why we were able to do that. Again, we didn't do it on our own. We did it clearly in step with Canada.
Canada. Oh, she really struggled through that. That's tough, man.
It's really disappointing. When she first took the stage as the press secretary, of course, there's lots of things to say about that. And she's always been this sort of reaching. She's, some people would say that this is a stutter. I don't think it's a stutter. It's a stalling. Is what she's
buying
doing.
Time, yeah.
She doesn't know what to say.
Yeah. Which you and I both know what that's like, because we've been on air so many, and there's moments where we're like, oh my gosh, what were we saying? Like the mouth is moving, but we're not really sure what we're saying. So I know it happens.
And let me tell you this: if it was a stutter, we would know it, because the media would never let us forget it.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
of course.
That would be a much bigger thing. So yes, Canada, love it. There's a while there where I was referring to our neighbors to the north exclusively as Canada. I don't know why I was doing it.
Maybe
I thought it was cute.
She was listening to the show and she's trying to get her points out, but all she could see are those googly eyes. She's very distracted.
Hypnotizing her, yeah. Yeah, right. That's quite possible.
Yeah, so there's our little update on Canada. Let's move on to Lake Huron, Michigan, right? Lake Michigan, that whole area. And we have one
the
clip
Great Lakes,
here.
Right?
Yes, over the Great Lakes, yeah. So I have one clip. I originally had 3, but this is the one that was interesting. This is a retired Colonel Cedric Layton, and he's talking about the situation here. And we don't know what it is, but it's just interesting how they present ideas about what we should be thinking about.
Colonel, thank you for being with us. What is your reaction to this?
Well, this is really interesting, and Arlette's reporting has really piqued my interest, because what you're seeing here is something that I don't think we've seen before, an octagonal object. So I don't know if that's a payload or if that's actually the balloon or the propulsion system or something else like that. So we don't have very many details, but these are the kinds of questions that we definitely have to be asking. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting from this octagonal object, we have strings coming out. Strings could be all kinds of things, but I'm looking at the possibility of those strings being antennas of one type or another, either for receiving or for transmitting information. So that's the kind of stuff that we have to analyze, have to have the DoD and other forensic specialists analyze this and really take a look at what the system actually is, how it connects with the other systems that were shot down earlier, if it does connect at all. Those are the kinds of questions that I have right now. I also note one other thing, if I may, and that's the relatively low altitude that this thing was flying at. 20,000 feet is absolutely within the realm of commercial aircraft, and that's extremely dangerous from a commercial aviation perspective. And the skies over Michigan are fairly well populated, so it's definitely something that needed to be taken care of.
So there you go.
Why do they keep shooting them down? Why can't we catch one?
Well, because we need to find out if the strings are tentacles or antennas and the details. We need the details. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems so pointless.
So many different shapes. The reports that you hear about this stuff, they keep calling it an object. And of course, people keep asking if it's a balloon or if it's a UFO, and they say it's an object, we don't have the information, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like they're purposefully, of course they know if it's a balloon. Yeah. It's either a balloon or it's a UFO. It's just kind of, which is it? And I think they are purposefully sort of keeping it vague.
Yeah, of course
in order to not just, I don't know why they would, but I think they want to get people riled up about UFOs.
I think that's exactly it. The more mystery they can create, the more attention they can bring to this topic, which leads me to this Reuters headline: ruling out aliens. Senior U.S. general says not ruling out anything yet. And look, the quote here is that this is from General Glenn Van Herk, who said, quote, "I'll let the intel community and the counterintelligence community figure that out. I haven't ruled out anything," when asked about aliens. So,
people are going nuts about this quote. And this is how, I'm not going to name any names, but let's say I listened to a few very, very popular, quote unquote, independent analysis people about this. And they are freaking out about how this guy did not rule out that it was an alien. And they are going off about how this means that the government says it's an alien. It's that he didn't rule it out. He didn't rule it out. Look, he didn't rule it out. But he basically said, like, it's not my job to say that, so I'm just not going to say anything. I don't think he was suggesting it was an alien. I think that the government wants you to think that it's an alien. And if
or wants
somebody
you to at least ask that question and ponder it, and it's
wants
really
you to stay focused on that question, that is what they want. So if you have any analysts out there sort of insisting that this is a UFO situation, because I will say specifically because of this guy's quote, I'm not saying that they're like paid shills or anything. They might be, but I'm not saying that. But they are really, really focusing on what they want it to be, and that is an admission of aliens.
Aliens.
Well, they're not alone. There's certain people that can really stoke the fire when it comes to that kind of stuff. One is Elon Musk. Business Insider Elon Musk joked that the UAPs shot down over North America are alien, quote, friends of mine, as questions remain over their origins. So yeah, there's Elon, which is, he's classic.
Where are the aliens?
And he says maybe he's the alien,
This thing, meme lord, yeah.
There's, and then to your point, this is Fox News. U.S. military shoots down unidentified flying object over Great Lakes region. Same object spotted over Montana. Now, that headline is almost irresponsible if you're really talk about, not getting people riled up about, and using the exact phrase unidentified flying object. We've seen them try to skate around it a little bit. We saw the unidentified objects that are flying or whatever. And we've seen, UAP being used every once in a while, but to just outright drop the UFO.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even correct. Like, it's not even the standard thing to call it anymore.
That's why it's all under no capitalization.
You call it UAP.
Yeah. So very interesting. And again, I do think it's part of trying to get people riled up about this.
Absolutely. And it continues. Because it's not just in the U.S. We've got our balloons, but if you head on over to Uruguay had their own situation. Lastly.com, UFO in Uruguay? Uruguayan Air Force investigating sighting of flashing lights in sky over Termas de Almirón. Long story short, so there you go. Uruguay's got some UFOs over there. Was there any details about that one that were
not
caught
really?
Your eye?
It's just that it's there. It's another part of the world.
And came out yesterday.
Yeah.
And indeed, China.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. Who's this? This is The Hill.
Yeah.
Yes, thehill.com.
Okay. Before you go into this one, because this one kind of freaked me out, but it's one of those moments, and when you're putting the show together, it needs to be documented. So this article was originally titled, "China says more than 10 U.S. balloons flew in its airspace." That was the headline. And it talked about the thing that, the mention of the 10 balloons over the Chinese, airspace and whatnot. But it also talked about the Philippine China situation and the tensions, and it actually talked about lasers being used.
Laser incident.
Yeah, so it's just weird that they would take all that out and completely change the headline. It's almost like The Hill got a little tap on the shoulder, like, hey, little too soon for the straightforward. We're going into.
I did read the laser. It did read the laser story. It felt unrelated. And The Hill connecting the laser story, right, to the UFOs seemed a little little irresponsible, but that's okay.
Well, the ABC News headline here is Philippines say China ship used laser against Coast Guard, and they claim that the Philippines Coast Guard vessel was hit basically with the Chinese Coast Guard military-grade laser, temporarily blinding some of its crew. So some serious laser action going on over there. But sure, I guess it's got nothing to do with, the whole situation over here with China and the balloons.
Okay. So, where was I? Oh, we're at the Hill here. I'm going to skip down quite a bit of this because most of it is, once again, reiterating the same stuff about the 4 balloons. The most important thing to happen to the world in 100 years. Let's see here. Kirby, so this is Kirby was given a briefing here. Says Kirby spoke from the White House podium hours after China alleged that more than 10 U.S. high-altitude balloons have flown in its airspace during the past year without its permission. American officials have vigorously denied the claim, with Kirby saying Monday, "We are not flying surveillance balloons over China." The Chinese allegation came after the U.S. shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon, and it goes on. There was also reports of China scrambling jets to respond to some UFO activity yesterday, I believe. So this UFO/balloon situation it is now a global phenomenon. Everybody is talking about their own balloons, their own UFOs. Of course, we saw Putin had a UFO sighting during his speech. It's really all over the place.
And that's what's really interesting about this is the Project Blue Beam narrative that's out there. A lot more people are talking about it now. It's becoming more familiar and it's circling around again. It's got kind of a season when it gets talked about and then people forget about it, and then a whole new wave of people learn about it. And I think we're in one of those times where a lot of people are learning about Project Blue Beam, which is this idea that they're supposed to create some sort of fake alien invasion, and then it creates a one world government. And, there's been people like Joseph Spencer, the alleged Men in Black. Yeah.
May I just real quick? So the official Project Blue Beam, as described in government documents, is to create a hologram of God. It was originally to be able to create a hologram of Allah to convince Muslims in the Middle East that Allah has spoken to them in the sky, and told them, whatever, like surrender to America or whatever. They were trying to create aerial phenomena to imitate religious experiences for adversaries. However, over the years, Project Blue Beam has been theorized by lots of very, very smart people doing good work, that it doesn't have to just be about Muslims and terrorists and the war in Iraq or whatever.
And they've probably deployed some level of that technology already in the Middle East. I've heard about the voice to skull stuff, and it
was a big government project, and the theory is that it could now also be used, and probably is almost certainly being used, to produce something similar. I mean, same mission, just instead of Allah, they're making
they can be whatever they want,
or aliens, or something that could be used for social engineering.
Right. Okay. So
I don't know. Go ahead.
So Joseph Spencer, he's the alleged original Men in Black. It's the movie and all that stuff is based off of. So he had a bunch of claims allegedly, and one of the claims is that the two that I have here to mention: in 1994, a secret summit was held in which 160 countries took part, and everyone agreed that the human population is getting out of control because natural resources are depleted, and the population should be reduced to 800 million by 2030. And then 2024, an quote-unquote alien invasion will take place on Earth, but in fact, the inhabitants of the Earth will see in the sky not an armada of real ships, but a very advanced hologram that looks like a real object and can even be touched. The absolute reality of what is happening will be created, but not aliens and not holograms will bomb the cities, but Earthlings under the cover of these holograms. So 2024 was the year this guy predicted back in 1990 whatever. So kind of an interesting situation there. And some of the criticisms out there is that, hey, there's not enough energy to pull out like a giant hologram, But there's a story here from Popular Mechanics. China built a hypersonic generator that could power unimaginable weapons. You have our attention. And just the bullet points, turning gas into plasma creates an intense electrical current for powering potent hypersonic weapons, which is part of this whole conversation with the balloons and spying on each other. Chinese researchers built a hypersonic generator that could power military lasers, railguns, and microwave weapons. The relative compact nature of the hypersonic generator opens the scope of potential uses. So, I'm not saying that this is the power source to power some kind of hologram in the sky, but really, we don't even have to have a crazy, huge hologram in the sky.
I think that they gave up the hologram idea because, as we've seen, drones can create, you do a fleet of drones, it creates a really spooky situation. I mean, we covered the drone shows at Burning Man and things like that. You can get almost a photorealistic, if you're far enough away and it's enough drones, it's almost a photorealistic, not projection, but representation of anything.
Yeah,
it was really incredible to see in person. We did cover it on the show.
Yeah, they couldn't keep it under wraps. That's one of those technologies that it just got out. Too many people are into it and can't use it for the Great Deception. But so there's China.
Are the ones that
real quick? Just let me mention the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just mention it because it's again in the context of every world government, the single world government being created out of this type of situation. Reuters.com here. Britain to review airspace security after China-U.S. spy balloon incident. So, there's not much happening in the UK, but they wanted to get into the attention game here. So, hey, they're looking into the airspace too.
Right. So here's the point is when it comes to PSYOPs, okay, we're all aware this is a PSYOP. We keep an eye out for PSYOPs, deconstructing, analyzing those is all a big part of what we do here. And pretty much everybody can agree that this is some sort of big PSYOP. But one thing you got to remember about the PSYOP is that the PSYOP is to manipulate public opinion to support policy change. So whenever something like this, especially when it's this broad and this sort of obsessed over by the establishment, when it's the only thing going on, there's two aspects of it. It's what is it distracting from and what is the policy win for those in power. That is how the Hegelian dialectic works. So when you see Britain reviewing airspace security after the balloon, that is it moving into the policy level. What does the government do about it, and what does it mean for us? Well, if you head on over to NBC here, we've got some big news today. White House announces interagency team to address unidentified aerial objects.
I thought we already had a group doing that.
Well, isn't that interesting that it is different? It's a different group he's putting together.
And we're Space Force.
Then Space Force, and then the actual UFO, like task force they already have. So no, we got to get another one. The Biden administration is forming an interagency group with the goal of addressing the recent spate of objects in the skies above North America. The White House announced Monday, quote, the president, through his national security advisor, has today directed an interagency team to study the broader policy implications for detection.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's just funny how it's not the actual thing that they want to figure out; it's the policy implications.
That's what it is, because that's what a PSYOP is for. It's to gain a justification and support for policy, because that's how you rule the world. You rule the world with policy. And broader policy implications for detection, analysis, and disposition of unidentified aerial objects that pose either safety or security risks. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said at a White House press briefing, quote, every element of the government, every element of the government. The first few times I just read right past it, but every element of the government will redouble their efforts to understand and mitigate these events, meaning that the changes in policy that come from this could be touching every element of the government.
This sounds like Building Back Better.
Build back better. Build back better. Blah, blah, blah. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
And that's exactly right. It seems just like another Build Back Better type of thing. You talk about Build Back Better, you talk about ESG, you talk about World Economic Forum type of stuff, and they're really talking about, they're obsessed with full-scale, across-the-board restructuring. That's what Davos is all about. That's what Build Back Better is all about. It's not policy in one aspect. It's ESG, environmental, social, and governance. It's across the board. And that's what they're getting at with every element of the government, redoubling their efforts to understand and mitigate these events. Kirby said that the national security team's task is to, quote, dig into this deeper from an interagency effort and see what, if other improvements need to be made. Administration officials are expected to provide an all senators classified briefing on Tuesday morning. That's tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
All senators, okay. About the unidentified objects, a spokesman for Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat New York, said Monday they will also receive a classified briefing on China on Wednesday.
Oh,
so
busy,
the balloons,
busy. Balloon Tuesday and China Wednesday.
Yeah, balloons are taking precedence over the China situation. You got to know about the balloons before you know about China.
Well, maybe they're both in on it. If they're accusing each other of the balloons, but maybe they find out that it's another group.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Antarctica group.
That's when they discover that it's the aliens. Then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out on Wednesday talking about aliens, and that's how you get the religious right, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so full scale response to this. A bunch of balloons. We're going to we're activating the entire government to figure out a few balloons. Again, and we've already said this. We said this with the first balloon, but just so it's said again because it's what everybody's talking about. These things have probably been around forever. We don't know exactly who or where they are, but things floating
in general, spy balloons have been a thing for a couple hundred years.
Yeah. And also these, stuff has been floating around in our skies forever. And we haven't either. It hasn't been important enough to get reported. Apparently the one during Trump's reign was
the most egregious violation.
So unimportant they didn't even tell him that it was happening. It happens all the time. But the end of this NBC article, let's see here, says this. In the wake of the Chinese balloon flight, the U.S. military is looking at wider range of radar data as it monitors North American airspace, and it is looking at more objects and smaller objects that might have filtered out as clutter in the past, two U.S. defense officials says. So the entire country's defense radar, they turn the dials up a little bit. So they're actually paying attention to smaller things like balloons. It remains unclear whether the military is now spotting objects that have been present but not noticed, or whether there are new aerial objects that were not present before. So they are also admitting, like, hey, yeah, we're going to keep finding more of these. Get ready, because we're cranking up the sensitivity on our radar.
So in post-COVID world, in a detection of a virus and all this kind of stuff, it's very similar in that there's these weird partnerships with China. Obviously, there's some tie-in militarily. There's funding going on in both directions. And then, just sort of the detection part of it of like, hey, we're opening the aperture of, we're looking for this specific thing. And then so all of a sudden it's like the yellow car syndrome.
Well, that's exactly the point with this, which is they are literally pulling a, I can't even remember the name of the test, but what was the test that they could? What was the COVID test? That was like the most important
PCR,
thing in the
PCR.
PCR, thank you. Yeah. It's like the PCR test. It's detection. You can crank up the sensitivity.
Yeah.
And we should all be used to this by now. And they use the same playbooks. Once you know how to recognize it, that's how you know the PSYOP is real.
It's real.
What this is they just admitted that they cranked up the sensitivity on the PCR test. They started looking. They turned the knob so that they're going to be
the big
seeing...
one. The 3 busload one, and then they can
more
start finding
balloons.
the little ones.
Right. So we're going to be seeing more of them. They're telling us right there. They're turning it up. They're going to be telling us more about balloons. This balloon stuff is not going to end very soon.
No.
Now, with that, I would like to take us over to Vice.
Because it's a distraction.
Little big back better. Little bit back better.
More build back better? Oh yeah, I already played it, huh? I gotta play it again.
Just the stuff we have.
Build back better, blah, blah, blah. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
PSYOPs.
That's right. Vice did a wonderful job. Now, I gotta appreciate Vice for this reason. I mean, they are sort of a virus of a company. They are they are a drain on me, sort of practically and spiritually. And they're a bad journalistic outlet. We know this. They're a propaganda outfit. But they are the source that is trying so desperately to run. They're sort of running almost like counterintelligence type operations.
It's almost like they're trying to co-opt the conspiracy sentiment.
So I don't think it's co-opt, but you're on the right track. Okay. It's like a counter co-op. It's a counter operation because this motherboard, which is the tech reporting by Vice, headline: "The Conspiracy Verse," which I like very much. The Conspiracy Verse.
That'll be its own metaverse.
The Conspiracy Verse thinks, quote, "fake UFOs are a distraction from a disastrous train derailment."
Ooh.
So that's an interesting headline, okay? The Conspiracy Verse thinks the fake UFOs, they should have just said balloons, but okay, fake UFOs are a distraction from a disastrous train derailment. It goes like this. A 50-car train derailment on Sunday, February 5th, near the town of East Palestine, Ohio, sparked a massive chemical fire, a temporary evacuation order, and ongoing concerns from local residents about air and water quality as they return home. The derailment is also the latest thing fueling conspiracy theories on the far right and in the UFO world. Many prominent figures in both places are sharing suspicions that the train derailment is being covered up, with help from what one person, the far-right podcaster Stu Peters, called fake UFOs.
Wow, Stu Peters getting in the limelight with Vice, huh? That to me screams plant. Spook.
Well, it's been interesting. We've seen Stu Peters is like the one guy that keeps coming up in all of these articles, specifically the kind of edgy ones like Vice and Wire. They always bring up Stu Peters. Let's keep going. Quote, East Palestine, Ohio, is undergoing an ecological disaster because authorities blew up the train derailment cars carrying hazardous chemicals, and press are being arrested for trying to tell the story. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted on Sunday afternoon, linking to an apocalyptic video containing footage from East Palestine, shared with ominous music. Quote, "Oh, but UFOs, what's going on? What's
UFOs
happening?"
Wrong.
What?
She spelled UFOs wrong. There's no apostrophe.
Okay. What's happening here is the confluence of two important news stories. Now, this is when they go into, Vice is going in to try to explain the world. But there's a couple things I want you to keep in mind. Number one, we've read, I think it was Wired that did it last time, but it could have been Vice. They describe conspiracy theories as the need to simplify a complicated thing. Okay, so if you're a conspiracy theorist, if you think about conspiracies, if you theorize them, you are trying to simplify complicated things, which is hilarious because to simplify a conspiracy theory. So if conspiracy theories are trying to simplify complicated things, then what does it mean when you try to simplify the simplified complicated thing? The logic breakdown on the whole anti-conspiracy thing, where conspiracies, it's just you're trying to understand the world, and the simplest thing is that there's lizard people and UFOs and all this stuff, which we've pushed back again. Conspiracy theories are anything but the simplest explanation, and that is why people find them so compelling. So you have Vice trying to conspiracy theorize about the conspiracy theory, about what conspiracy theories are. At the same time, remember, they're talking about the balloons or the UFOs being distractions from things, which we agree with here. It's so obvious. And in the word you use, Gonz, perhaps co-opt is a word. People thinking that the balloons are a distraction may find this Vice article about what they are. And Vice thinks that it's a distraction from a train wreck, and is quoting and using Marjorie Taylor Greene and Stu Peters, which is already a bit suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It goes on. What's happening here is the confluence of two important news stories: the disaster in East Palestine and the United States shooting down two unidentified objects in the last day. First in Alaska and then over Lake Huron, just a week after a Chinese spy balloon was shot down off the South Carolina coast. Neither situation is exactly unprecedented. Okay, first of all, just a quick fact check. It absolutely is unprecedented.
Yeah, hello.
We've never had a kinetic confrontation with NORAD, the North American whatever it is that they're using to shoot down these balloons. It's never happened. We've never shot down a spy balloon, and we've never shot down 4 spy balloons in 3 days. Okay, so it is unprecedented, Vice, but let's continue. Neither situation is exactly unprecedented. Spy balloons apparently traveled through the U.S. airspace during the Trump administration, although they weren't detected at the time. Got to give them credit for getting that right. And rail workers have begged the general public to pay attention to basic issues of safety and welfare in their industry for years, as Motherboard's Aaron Gordon wrote earlier this year. Those workers warned that conditions in the industry, quote, make the railroads more dangerous, not only for themselves, but for all Americans who live in towns and cities these trains pass through. So there is an interesting aspect to this UFO thing to distract from the train crash, because it is literally Joe Biden who forced rail workers back to work under threat of jail. The union man, Scranton boy, man of the working people, Joe Biden, threatened jail time to train workers to force them to go back to work. And if they quit, they would go to jail. That is your man of the people, Joe Biden.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
So perhaps to, sort of protect his image, he would create a worldwide alien conspiracy so people don't blame him for a train crash. Maybe. But that's a bit of a conspiracy theory, and that is what's getting pushed by Marjorie Taylor Greene and Peter. It goes on. But coincidences are not allowed to happen in the conspiracy verse, and Greene and other far-right figures are working overtime to figure out what kind of cover-up must be taking place. The conviction that the objects shot down by the U.S. military are fake and a planned distraction has prevailed from the UFO world to wherever Peters, the mind behind both a brain-numbing documentary claiming that COVID and COVID vaccines are derived from snake venom, and an equally brain-numbing but more popular one falsely claiming that COVID vaccines are to blame for a mass uptick in sudden deaths. That's annoying. I should have skipped that. They are using way too many words to try to describe Stu Peters. hangs out and back again. Carrie Cassidy, a filmmaker of sorts who runs a popular conspiratorial website called Project Camelot, shared footage of East Palestine on her Telegram channel, writing, quote, "This is most likely while we're being distracted with UFO talk this weekend." Erin Elizabeth, a conspiracy theorist who mainly traffics in anti-vaccine and health freedom narratives, also shared footage from East Palestine on Twitter, writing, quote, "Meanwhile, everybody's worried about these UFOs, which turned out to be some balloons, every last one of them, just a distraction." Quote, "There's a real-life toxic firebomb, cancer-causing gas explosion, mushroom cloud train wreck in Ohio, and it's crickets from the media," wrote Peters, the far-right podcaster, on his Telegram channel. Quote, "But they sure are all over pretend UFOs." Quote again, "The media wants you talking about UFOs," wrote far-right activist Jack Pacific on Telegram.
Right,
so it goes through Jack. Yeah, I know. And so you have Vice, on one hand, condemning conspiracy theorists for talking about the UFO being fake. So you have sort of pro-UFO Vice article.
Right. It's pro-concern.
Implying not that the facts show that it's UFOs, by the way. So they're not trying to say that the facts say that it's UFOs, but they are condemning people for questioning not the facts, questioning not the government narrative, but condemning people for even not caring that they're UFOs. For, it's like not even an official storyline being questioned that they are condemning. They are condemning the idea that the distraction isn't working. If you're not talking about the UFOs, then you must be some sort of right-wing extremist domestic terrorist.
They get worse.
The implication that they're giving. So, whereas before it was if you question, say, a COVID vaccine, then you're crazy. In this case, it's if you don't question whether this is a UFO, you don't fit in. You're crazy. You're not part of us, whatever that means. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a weird twist. It's a weird, what's the word? I don't know. It's just sort of backhanded reversal where suddenly, if you're not a UFO conspiracy theorist, you're in the wrong. Let me finish this up with two more paragraphs. In an unusual twist, you can say that again, the intense suspicion over what's happening in East Palestine has led to an accidental support for freedom of the press. Come on, Vice.
Support for freedom of the press. All right, okay.
So, of course, because these people are right-wing, they automatically don't support freedom of the press because, well, Vice is a trash website. You're right. I don't really support the freedom of Vice, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just a podcaster. I'm not making the rules. But they are equating accidental support for freedom of the press, meaning you do not want freedom of the press, with questioning a UFO narrative. Several leading conspiracy figures have decried the arrest of Evan Lambert, a News Nation reporter. News Nation, by the way, is the outlet that Chris Cuomo joined after being ousted from CNN. We've done a whole breakdown on News Nation. But apparently, Evan Lambert from News Nation, a reporter, was arrested on disorderly conduct and trespassing while doing a live broadcast from a press release held by Ohio Governor Mike DeWine. This, too, has been spun into evidence of a cover-up. Meanwhile, the Ohio Attorney General is investigating Lambert's arrest, and Governor DeWine himself has said that he didn't authorize it. More on that in a second. While it is surely never good news when a large number of extremely online people...
What does that mean?
Yeah. Extremely online people, like Vice reporters.
Extremely online. Okay.
Yeah. While it is surely never good news when a large number of extremely online people with big followings are trying to spin up fear and suspicion, like Vice, in this case, it's leading to a lot of attention paid to an environmental disaster. unambiguous support for a reporter who seems to have been unjustly arrested, and some memes of varying quality. All things considered, things could be, and surely will be again, far, far worse. So if you take away the snark of Vice, they are admitting that it's conspiracy theorists who are fighting for freedom of the press, fighting for attention to an environmental disaster, the train wreck, and they just can't give it to her. They got to call it accidental. And in order to accidentally support conspiracy theorists, Vice must bend over backwards to convince you that if you're not a UFO theorist, then you don't belong in society. Very interesting spin to this whole thing. Who thought 4 balloons getting shot down by missiles would cause such a turn in representation for conspiracy theorists in the media?
You know what's interesting about this Vice article? It's talking about the Ohio thing, but still not talking about the Ohio thing.
Yeah, it gives almost no details about the train wreck that they themselves think should be talked about more.
Yeah. So CNN Health had this headline this morning: after a train derailment, Ohio residents are living the plot of a movie they helped make. And this reads like like a Face Like the Sun video. They're really leaning into that type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to play about 25 seconds or so of the White Noise trailer. Truck running into trains. Explosion.
Something that could actually kill
someone. Let's watch a sitcom or something.
No! They're calling it the airborne toxic event.
We won't come this way.
Will we have to leave our home?
Of course not.
How do you know?
I just know.
Okay, what if it's dangerous?
Evacuate all places of residence.
That's the end. It's near the end. Here's what the CNN article says. When Ben Ratner's family signed up in 2021 to be extras in the movie White Noise, they thought it would be a fun distraction from their day-to-day life in blue-collar East Palestine, Ohio. Ratner, 37, is in a traffic jam scene, sitting in a line of cars trying to evacuate after a freight train collided with a tanker truck, triggering an explosion that fills the air with dangerous toxins. In another scene, his father wears a trench coat and hat while people walk across an overpass to get out of town. Directors told the group they wanted them to look, quote, forlorn and downtrodden as they escape the environmental disaster. The 2022 movie was shot around Ohio and is based on a novel by Don DeLeo. The book was published in 1985, shortly after a chemical disaster in Bhopal, India, that killed nearly 4,000 people. The book and film follow the fictional Gladney family, a couple and their 4 kids, as they flee an airborne toxic event and then return home and try to resume their normal lives. Ratner tried to rewatch the movie a few days ago and found that he couldn't finish it. Quote, all of a sudden, it hit too close to home, he said. Which is kind of like, wouldn't you know that going in if you're in the movie, what it's about?
Well, I'm assuming that's why he tried to watch it again.
Maybe, sure. But
okay. How crazy is that? There was a movie set in East Palestine, Ohio, where a train crashes and creates a crazy environmental disaster and poison gas in the air and poisoning the water, and tells the story of a family dealing with that. And then the next year, the exact same thing happened in the exact same place.
Yeah, but you know what?
What?
But here's the thing. This type of coincidence, quote unquote, would normally be carried by your alt media personality or whatever, content creator.
Right.
But CNN gets to carry it, which I think is another interesting thing here.
Why was the Vice article not about that coincidence? They didn't even mention they're trying to make a case that coincidences happen, so stop asking questions. And they don't mention the coincidence that a movie came out last year with the exact same circumstances. I mean, come on.
It's the PSYOP, man. Officials ordered them.
Absolutely bonkers. This is CNN, you say?
Mm-hmm. CNN
Jeez
Health.
Louise.
Officials ordered them to evacuate their home last week, a day after Norfolk Southern train carrying 20 cars of hazardous materials slid off the rails and caught fire, threatening to explode. The National Transportation Safety Board is still investigating the cause of the incident. Quote, "The first half of the movie is almost exactly what's going on here," Ratner said Wednesday, 4 days into their evacuation. In a way, the movie has provided a point of grim humor about the situation facing the residents of East Palestine, the joke no one wanted to make. Quote, "Everyone's been talking about that," Ratner said of his friends and neighbors who are keeping in close touch through the crisis. Quote, "I actually made a meme where I superimposed my face on the poster and sent it to my friends." So he's getting in on it. Scholars, this is interesting, scholars who studied DeLeo's work, that's the author of the book that the movie was based on, say they are not surprised by the collision of life and art. His work is often described as prescient, said Jesse Cavadlo, an English professor at Maryville University in St. Louis and president of the Don DeLeo Society. Quote, "The terrible spill now is, of course, a coincidence. But it plays in our minds like life imitating art, which was imitating life and on, because as DeLeo suggests in White Noise as well, we unfortunately become too acquainted with the mediated language and enactment of disaster," Cavaldo said.
How much do you think that person got paid?
I have no idea.
How much do you have to get paid to say that?
I don't know, but that
dude. So we've talked about for years. Obviously, there's the issue of, or the topic of predictive programming, which is not a conspiracy theory.
No,
that is
that they do.
Yes, it's a thing that they do.
Reveal the plot.
It's well documented, but which is the idea that you slowly introduce ideas into a community or
public
society, and use it to sort of preload people for certain experiences.
The emotional response, legislative response, the whole deal, the whole gamut.
Right. You can sort of guide the response of a population by sort of slowly and surreptitiously inserting that situation in harmless ways and presenting appropriate ways to respond. That's a big part of what movies are, and not even just in like a government type of way. I mean, that is also just like how our brains work. We recognize patterns. If it's a pattern, if there's a pattern that we recognize from the past, we sort of try to replay what will give us positive outcomes. So these movies, the whole point is, to introduce a possibility or a situation and then sort of pre-program the way in which a person can handle that situation and get a beneficial outcome. And if you have, some sort of government doing that, it's usually act in the way that will benefit the government. But to have within 1 year, can you get the actual release date of that movie?
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Whatever it is, but the exact, and it was a book before that, so I don't know how. 85. Okay,
that's when the CIA is deploying their gamut of thinkers and writers and authors and giving him some hints and stuff, to incorporate.
You see, that makes it even more interesting. Like the book being written for 40 years, what was that? 38 years ago. And then the movie coming out last year, and then it happening this year. It had 37 years. Like, even if the book is what predicted it, it had 37 years to happen, and it didn't happen. And it happens probably months after the movie is released. I mean, come on. Now, there's also, besides predictive programming, there's also the issue of magic or ritual or, spell casting, things like this. I mean, they're all sort of related in ways, but also considering what we've been talking about with the Super Bowl and public rituals and all that kind of stuff, there's certainly some possibilities there as far as this is concerned. But that is absolutely bonkers. I cannot believe that Vice did not add that in.
White Noise was released August 31st in Venice and then November 25th in the United States. So literally 2 months ago.
So 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So 3 months.
Well, in the U.S., November 25th. So that's
that's what I'm asking. Yeah. So 25th. I wonder how many days. And when did the actual crash happen?
The 5th of.
So 25th. February. That was. Wasn't that Thanksgiving?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me do some math.
Yeah. So you're right. It is Thanksgiving. Maybe it did come out on Thanksgiving. So it's the turkey ritual. One of the things let me just continue on with the article here because there's a couple things to note and then I have a couple more stuff to show you. A town wonders what's coming home. 5 of the tankers on the train that overturned last week were carrying liquid vinyl chloride, which is extremely combustible. Last Sunday, they became unstable and threatened to explode. First responders and emergency workers had to vent the tankers, spill the vinyl chloride into a trench, and then burn it off before it turned the train into a bomb. Authorities feared that an explosion could send shrapnel up a mile away, but that didn't happen. The controlled burn worked, and the evacuation order for East Palestine residents was officially lifted Wednesday after real-time air and water monitoring did not find any contaminant levels above screening limits.
Right.
Quote.
Sorry, what day did this happen?
5th of February, I believe.
Oh, the 5th of February. Okay.
Quote, all of the readings we've been recording in the community have been at normal concentrations, normal backgrounds, which you find in almost any community. James Justice, a representative of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, said in a briefing Wednesday. Okay, so that CNN is going into some of this and explaining what's going on and the EPA's response. And, they're saying, hey, we burned it off. We had a controlled burn and then it was all good. But the reason why they're even having to explain all this in CNN, basically today when the article came out, is because a TikTok video went viral. Imagine that, Basil, a TikTok video going viral. Maybe on purpose. And this TikToker...
Yeah, but you mean the social network that has a big red button on the back end where China can press the button and make something go viral?
Yeah. So I think maybe they pressed the button for this one, which explains a little bit more about the whole spill and what happened. It's about a 5-minute clip. I cut it down to 1 minute and 20. So here it is.
So vinyl chloride is really toxic. OSHA has the permissible limit of how much you can be exposed to it during an 8-hour shift as a 1 ppm part per million, average over 8 hours. So prior to this, the biggest spill of this chemical was in New Jersey, where one train car and about 23,000 gallons of vinyl chloride were spilled, but it didn't catch on fire. Now, this crash in Ohio has 5 train cars. These kinds of tanker cars can carry between 25 and 33,000 gallons. Let's call it 250 to 250,000 pounds of vinyl chloride. That's per train car, 5 train cars. There's maybe 1 million pounds of this toxic chemical spilling into the ground and also boiling off into the air. But then it caught on fire. I think this is where the reporting is really bad because no one is mentioning what the byproduct of vinyl chloride burning is. Of the many byproducts of burning vinyl chloride, one of them is hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride is really unstable and latches onto water, like just water vapor in the atmosphere, and that turns into hydrochloric acid. So right now, government officials from the railroad, both the governor of Pennsylvania and Ohio are calling burning off the 1 million pounds of this stuff a success, but not mentioning that it means that we have hundreds of thousands of pounds of acid in the air, potentially.
So that's good.
Wow.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds.
That's serious business.
Yeah, of in the air. Now, something to note here, and I don't know, this is maybe a conspiratorial mind, Basil, but if you go to the wiki page of White Noise 2022, it says here, budget $100 million, box office $34,818.
Oh, 34,008. What?
34,818. Nothing compared to the $100 million they spent on it.
No. 31,000 could not be the number.
Well, no, it says right here, $34,818 box office.
That's impossible. That it could be. I mean, no, that's can't be true.
Okay. Well,
unless it opened in just one theater.
Well, nobody liked it, but they needed something to boost the views of the movie, and so hey, real life?
No,
Explosion.
yeah, something's wrong. If it only
whole
made
thing is wrong.
$34,000, something is very wrong. But listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
If it came out on November 25th
Mm-hmm.
and the train crashed on the 5th,
Mm-hmm.
72 days.
Ooh, there it is.
72 days.
Of course.
And just in case anybody is wondering what that means, I'm over here at thephoenixenigma.com, an occult website where they go through this sort of thing. The number 72 is a number known in esoteric numerology to be a master number. That is a number which encompasses patterns that replicate in frequencies and vibrations, certain energies of the manifested universe. Woo. But listen to this. I believe there is an as of yet unrealized significance between the numbers 72 and 23.
Ooh, hey.
Yeah, so you have an occult master number of days between the movie releasing in the U.S. and if it only made $34,000, now 33 would have been great, but it only made $34,000. That means they maybe put it out for a weekend in one theater or something, or a very small handful of theaters. And took it out immediately. It's almost as if it's not a release at all. The number is so infinitesimally small compared to what even a bad failure flop movie makes in the American market. So it's really weird that whatever it was, they just put it out for a second, took it off, did something, whatever. To get that number is really crazy. Yeah. But then 72 days later, the occult master number 72 happens for real. The movie happens for real. If we're talking about, spell casting and magic or whatever, if that's the lens in which you choose to look at this through, in this case, which you certainly don't have to. There's others too, but it's pretty weird that when we're talking about public displays of occult ritual, this stinks of it.
Yeah.
And then the balloons came.
Yeah.
Then the balloons came. Gonz.
Well, Luke 10:1 talks about the 72 that were sent out. The New Testament when Jesus sends out
72
the disciples.
is all over the place.
Yeah, and of course that's the same number as the Table of Nations in Genesis 10 that are there. So it's there's a whole theology there. But one more aspect to this, which was mentioned earlier, is the News Nation guy being arrested. I have the video here. A couple interesting things to note about it. Owned by Nexstar Perry Sook, and it's a publicly traded channel. WG in America, which reaches 75 million homes, has barely made a dent in the news rating. Only 250,000 viewers, so kind of a dying news outlet, which is a great reason to stage an arrest of one of their reporters.
News Nation correspondent Evan Lambert complying with orders while on air, ending his live shot during Governor Mike DeWine's press conference Wednesday. But it's the moment that follows when the situation escalates. 4 officers approach Evan, multiple cameras rolling nearby. Evan audibly explains he was simply doing a live shot in accordance with the rules and the law. You can hear as the situation becomes more tense, Evan says, "Don't touch me." As he begins to walk back toward the press conference, officers remove Evan from the gym and forcibly take him to the ground, cuffing him.
You guys, he's a national correspondent. You cannot do this.
I'm a reporter with News Nation. It's all being recorded right now.
This is horrible.
Because you can't talk to people about doing their job.
The arresting affidavit claims Evan refused to leave when asked, and that Evan was, quote, coming at a National Guard general who then pushed Evan away. That version of events, however, not what we see on video. Evan was charged with criminal trespass and disorderly conduct and placed in the back of a squad car. He had this to say.
What do you want to say to people watching this?
It's tough to do your job in America in 2023, but we'll keep doing it.
So there it is. Kind of I don't know, the timing of it all. Again, it's another story where they're not really talking about the Ohio thing. It's adjacent.
It is interesting. They're like talking about, they're referencing the train wreck enough that they don't have to report on it, kind of, but they can kind of talk about other things in the context.
And it's so egregious that it does seem like it's part of a packaged thing where it's like, we'll take down a news reporter, we'll make the explosion happen, we'll get some attention. Here's the second half of that little interview thing. And this little nugget here I thought was interesting as well.
Guys, I just want to mention, as I did the previous hour, that it's hard for a lot of us to be entirely objective here because Evan sits right across from me in the D.C. Bureau. We are work friends. I can speak to his demeanor and his character. Certainly not somebody that would seek out conflict at all. And I just want to mention also that Evan is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, in our Bureau when it comes to having sources in law enforcement and respecting law enforcement. And actually in Washington, D.C., a lot of the law enforcement really respects Evan as well. And so I just wanted to add that as some extra color and some context here. If we ever need anything approved or something that we want to get confirmed by officials in law enforcement, usually Evan is the guy to do it. I just felt like that was an important thing at least to add in this story, guys.
Interesting. He's known amongst the Bureau.
So what exactly was he doing? Was he causing a ruckus or?
No, you can see. Apparently, I mean, what it looked like was he was doing a live report and then the press conference started. And so, hey, you're supposed to shut it down. So he did. He kind of shut it all down. And then the troopers and these kind of security guard looking dudes all approach him. They're surrounding him. And, it gets a little confrontational, but then he tries to walk back in, but they kind of drag him and push him out. It didn't look like he did anything offensive. He was defending himself a little bit, but I don't think he pushed anybody or did anything like that.
But so, the original offense was he was just asking questions or
something like that, which he's a
sorry
reporter.
If I missed it. But.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. It doesn't make any sense. The only explanation is really to draw attention to an adjacent story element to the whole,
that's very weird.
The whole Ohio thing. And just to add, I guess you can say add insult to injury or another layer of the onion to the PSYOP or whatever you want to say. Houston area crash between truck, Union Pacific train, kills driver, derails 20 plus rail cars. That happened today. So another hazardous materials situation with a train and a truck.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, weird stuff, man.
It's like the balloons, man. You got the train truck collisions. Now we're going to see them everywhere.
Yeah, they turn up the train crash radar too.
And then they'll
something's
create
going on.
The board of investigating trucks and trains.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, very weird series of events over the weekend. Yeah. My goodness. All right. Well, with that, Gonz, I think it's time that we have a little party.
Yeah, sure.
Train party.
Oh, boy. Go to canarycry.party.
Party time.
There you will find a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, how to produce the show, how to connect with us and the community.
Welcome to Canary Cry Party. It's the place you wanna be. So say welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay Canary Cry Party.
That's right. Go check it out. canarycry.party. There's links to all sorts of great stuff. You can join our text message alert system. You can sign up for the Canary Cry T-shirt Council and a whole bunch of other stuff. Get connected. Enjoy yourself. It's a real hoot. You can also learn how to produce the show. And if you did, we are going to thank you right now.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Right. Oh, you know what? I forgot to pitch Ravel. Ravel's back, folks. Go check out Ravel. It's a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, exploring society, scripture, and scandal. Go do it. There's a new episode waiting for you. Find it on all your podcast catchers. Yes. All right. We're going to thank some producers because we're on the value for value model. We take no corporate money whatsoever. Because in our book, if you take corporate money, you lose the right to call yourself independent media. And it's really not just a sort of model for funding independent media. It is a mindset shift. It is a paradigm shift where we need to change our minds about who is funding the media, the news media, analysis, deconstruction, things like that. Because as we know, where the money comes from is who really is in charge. And if you're taking your money from advertisers and other corporations, let's just be honest, that's who's in charge. But not here. We are entirely funded by producers of the show. That is you, folks, people who get value and put value back in. You can put value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to do it. But that means we're not working for a corporation, Gonz. We're working for the people. Yes. And that's the way it should be. And if you disagree with me, you're wrong. But we're going to thank some producers now. These folks came on over to canarycrynewstalk.com/support or canarycryradio.com/support, or maybe they signed up at Canary Cry T-shirt Council. Wherever you came in, we're going to thank you. And Gonz, this is what I love about the way we do this. Because we started the show with no executive producer. It was going to be one of those days. It's, it's okay.
Just
we're used to
it.
Just one of those days. And usually, you think to change a day from kind of sad and disappointing to not sad and disappointing, there takes a lot. Something big needs to happen. A revolution needs to happen in order to shift an entire day. But here on the value for value model, one person out there can change the whole thing. And indeed, today is one of those days because one person changed our entire situation today. And that is our executive producer.
Ooh, we have an executive producer.
That's right.
Executive producers.
Executive producers. They come in, they support the show. Often they rescue us from the doom that is no executive producer. And that's why we're so grateful to our new, improved executive producer, Liam S.
Liam S. Thank you very much, Liam.
Thank you very much, Liam. Now, Liam came in with a nice round number, which means that we are not going to disclose it. That's how it works, folks. We are both transparent as we can without giving away stuff that people don't want us to give away. So if you produce the show in a round number, a nice round number, that means that you are telling us not to disclose the amount of that nice round number. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, you put something funky on there. Make it a funky number. Put 72 in there, or 33 cents, or whatever. And so executive producer Liam S. came in, supported the show. Nice round number. We appreciate it very much. But it did. It makes a huge difference, Liam. You are our hero.
Liam gave us.
I want you to be very careful about the next comments you're about to make.
I was just going to say that Liam S. gave us an unidentified object.
Yes,
sticking with the anonymity of
it's an unidentified financial object. We appreciate that very much, Liam. Okay, so there you go. Let's give him that executive producer, and that's good to go. I didn't see him. Feel free to send us a note if you'd like us to read it on a future show, Liam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liam.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yes. Let's see. There's no supply droppers today, but just so everybody knows, go to canarycrysupply.com. I'm going to be updating that page to reflect a lot of the new facts and details about the supply drop. We've got a lot more merchandise pictures and stuff. You can get a better idea of what the supply drop is. But thank you to I want to take a second and say thank you to all of our supply droppers for continuing to support the show. And the first quarter supply drop is on the move. So still got a couple months until it gets there. But if anybody wants to be one of our heroes that keeps us alive during the slow times, joining the supply drop is a great idea.
You know, something that we're on the cusp of, I think we should maybe start talking about it now. We are 10 episodes away from 600.
Oh, yeah, we should start talking about that
another
sooner
milestone.
rather than later. Yeah, well, Well, we can say right off the bat, just so we're not accused of waiting till the last second, we'll definitely have, the Knight and Dames special will be at 666. Oh, we got to do something about that.
Oh.
Okay.
Dark days may be ahead, Basil.
Yeah.
616 and 666.
I wonder what the date will be of our 666th episode. We got to do some math.
We'll try to make it May 1st. Illuminati Day.
It's possible that it'll be something weird like that. Anyways, yeah, okay. 600 episodes coming up. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about something cool to do.
Okay.
All right. But we do have some very important people to thank, Gonz. Some might even say, I would say, the most important people of the world. Right. These are some people who joined the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. They have joined the council, and which makes them the most important people in the world. And we appreciate them very much, which means that they are going to start receiving for free a Canary Cry News Talk T-shirt every quarter, which is the only way to get a Canary Cry News Talk T-shirt. You cannot get them any other way. Maybe on the black market, secondhand. I don't know. Maybe. But we're not in the business of retail. We're in the business of putting value into the pockets or perhaps on the backs of our producers. So you can go to canarycrytshirtcouncil.com, sign up, support the show, and we'll give you free T-shirts. But we have a few more people who came in during the show. We're going to thank them right now. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Cool. Canary Cry T-shirt Council member John G. coming in.
John G. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Most important person in the world. We also have Canary Cry T-shirt Council member. Most important person in the world, producer Christian H.
Christian H. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christian H. Oh, somebody is asking questions about cryptocurrency producership. Yeah. Remember to send us emails if you do cryptocurrency. Send us an email so we know what to look out for. Okay, that concludes our most important people in the world list, the T-shirt Council members. Thank you very much. We are really hoping to get a nice chunk of T-shirt members together. Because we need them to vote and make the decisions about which T-shirts to make. We also need to make some minimum manufacturing goals so we can get everything at good prices. We'll have some more math on that for you in the future. But we have some producers who came in and supported the show straight up, and we want to thank them now. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Starting with producer Kat. Producer Kat came in for $20.23. 2023, yes.
Yes.
And thank you very much, Producer Kat. And Producer Kat sent a note. Says this: praying for you both. Oh, God bless you. I hear the discouragement in your voices. Remember, God's got your back, and all the Canarians do too. Please demooch me. Yeah, thank you very much, Producer Kat, and congratulations on the demooching. We appreciate the prayers, we appreciate the support, and we appreciate passing out the demooches.
Yeah.
We don't mean to sound discouraged, but we are just honest. We don't want to fake it. We don't want to fake, because just to be completely transparent, we have talked about faking not being discouraged before. Don't do it anymore.
Don't sound so discouraged on air.
Earlier on. Yeah,
sound
earlier on.
Happy.
My goodness, Gonzo.
Never
earlier on. And oh my gosh. All right, moving on. Nobody gets to hear the cool inside transparent thing. We have next up, producer David K.
Thank you, David K.
Comes in with $33.33. Talk about discouragement. When Gonz plays jingles over a heartfelt thing that I'm trying to let our producers know the inside, the very depths of our hearts. And this guy thinks it's funny to play Ben Shapiro advertising waffles.
Can't deal with
But
it
not
right now,
David
Basil.
K. David K is the man of the hour, coming in for 3333. Thank you very much. And a note here says, please cover the Asbury University revival. As of this writing, they have been worshiping the Lord for 5 days, 24/7. Thanks for all you do, Basil and Gonz. Have you heard about this?
Well, first off, thank you, David K.
Thank you very much.
3333. I have not. The Asbury University revival, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of tough because we read the news and report on the news. I hadn't seen anything. I'm seeing 5 hours ago some posts. Let's see here.
Here we go.
WKYT.
Christianity Today's carrying
headline.
it now. Yeah,
what is going on? You're just talking over me. Can I read this, please?
Yeah.
Okay, WKYT headline, days-long spontaneous revival.
Welcome back
Oh my
to
gosh. I
WKYT
had not
News.
been
A
able to
service
Oh my gosh.
that was not on purpose.
Folks,
That was.
can you believe what I am dealing with over here?
Oh, get over it. Okay.
Days-long spontaneous revival continues at Kentucky University. A days-long chapel service at Asbury University in Wilmore is still ongoing. It began on Wednesday, February 8th, and on Monday, February 13th, it is still going. Prayers, praise, worship, music, and testimonies, all of it, people say, a movement they themselves could not have started. The service is being described as a revival, quote, a movement that only God could orchestrate and keep going. What began with students has blossomed and grown to include people from all over the country. People from as far away as Oregon have heard about this and are showing up to sing, raise their hands in praise, or kneel down to pray. Quote, no big lights or big media or anything like that. It's proof the Lord is working right now. Amazing to see. We just wanted to be a part of that desperately, said Aniston McClellan, who traveled from Nashville. It's hard to describe why this is happening or what has caused a simple prayer service to go on and on and on. However, people say the reason is very simple yet profound. Quote, we would say there is just a spirit of the Lord in this place, really burrowed its way into our hearts and minds of our students, staff, faculty, and our community, said Dr. Kevin Brown, president of Asbury University. Dr. Brown told us there are still classes taking place Monday, but that the faculty is being very flexible and, of course, understanding if students would rather be at the chapel than in class. Well, that's kind of a
I was
cool
going to
professor.
say that one of the obstacles might be, don't they have like school work to do? But I guess if it's a revival, then hey.
Yeah, if it's I could see if that happened at my Christian University, that could have been at least, hopefully these kids are getting chapel credit for it. I'm sure they are. That does sound very cool. Yeah, I had heard nothing about this, and it looks like did not really show up into the media until this morning.
Yeah.
I wonder
like
if David is connected to this in some way.
Maybe. Yeah. It's in Kentucky, right?
Oh. Yeah, Kentucky.
Well, let us know if you're nearby. Go check it out. Boots on the ground.
Yeah, if we got any boots on the ground, let us know, folks. Thank you very much, producer David K.
David K.
Next up, we got Sir Morv, Night of the Burning Chariots, 11/11, 193 episodes in a row.
11. Thank you, Sir Morv.
We have producer The Last Eve came in on the Patreon.
Thank you, The Last Eve. I see her on Twitter.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, we've got Sir LX Protocol V2, Night of the Berean Protocol, pocket full of sevens, 139 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir LX Protocol. V2.
And let's see here. Looks like last but not least, we've got Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas, coming in pocket full of sevens. And big day. This is Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas, 100th episode in a row. Big day, big day. Wow, I forgot about that one. There you go. Thank you very much, Sir Darren Knight of the Hungry Panda. We appreciate your support in all of its various ways. The financial support, your astounding talent that you lend to us. We really appreciate it. And to have you around for 100 episodes in a row really means a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir Darren did have a note here. It says, "It is Monday."
What day is it? Monday.
Have a great day. Thank you very much, Sir Darren Knight of the Hungry Pandas.
Appreciate it.
Okie dokie. That would have been it. We do have live alert coming in. Yes, it's coming through the wire. Big news. Everybody pay attention. We've got a very, very important announcement. It is now being announced across the world and indeed the galaxy and anything beyond, whether it be real or scientific propaganda. The whole of human attention and fame and importance is now surrounding one single person for just a moment. Yes, he is the most important person in the world just now signing up for the Canary Cry T-shirt Council. Please give a standing round of applause for producer Ghostronaut.
There he is, Ghostronaut.
Ghostronaut
need shirts too.
He has materialized. He is back from his space adventures as a space ghost. Ghostronaut has joined the T-shirt Council. Thank you very much, buddy. Okay. Now, that's it. That's all of the producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But there's a few people who came in under that. We're going to thank them right now.
Okay.
Starting with producer Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
225 episodes in a row.
Nice.
We also have Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
261 episodes in a row.
Tip of the spear.
Yes. We have Doctor Who Dundat.
Thank you, Doctor Who Dundat.
26 episodes in a row. We've got Sir Scott, the Knight of Truth.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
250 episodes in a row. That does it.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious. Women rule.
Streakalicious indeed. Thank you, everybody, for keeping the show alive. It means the world to us. There's nothing that we could be doing right now more important than this, and to have you guys behind us means everything. If you would like to produce the show, if you get value from the show and you realize that the only way it survives is if you put value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure, head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
And thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Real fast. We got a little pharmakia update, Gonz. We've spoken about psychedelics becoming medicine in Australia, the movement, the global movement for psychedelic enlightenment, even not just at Burning Man or whatever, but also Davos. Psychedelic shamans becoming a part of the way, the realigning of the beast system's fascination with the spiritual realm has led people to into deeper and deeper realms of psychedelic consciousness, and now it is becoming the law of the land. Policy, people. Indeed, last episode, we talked about psychedelic shamans. Nope, that's the wrong word. Psychedelic chaplains.
Yeah.
Chaplaincy, a westernized version of shamanism becoming more and more important in the scientific establishment with psychedelics. And here's just a quick little update coming from The Economist magazine. Headline, Shamanism is Britain's fastest growing religion. Now, this isn't particularly explicitly about psychedelic shamans. It does not mention yes, it does. Never mind. And let's get into it. In a garden studio in North London, Steve Atman holds a monthly shamanic drumming circle. Participants stand with arms outstretched as Mr. Altman traces their shape in the air with burning copal, a Mexican incense, in a purifying ritual known as smudging. Ground snakeskin, feathers, candles, and a bowl of water, each representing the 4 elements of Inca cosmology, sit in the center of the room. The ceremony culminates in a soul journey in which rhythmic drumming is believed to facilitate an ascent into the spirit realm. One woman describes climbing vines to the heavens from Colindale. Shamanism is rooted in animism, the idea that every entity in nature, whether plant, animal, or rock, is alive. Trance is the core shared practice. Shamans, who are traditionally trained by other shamans, learn to enter trances, aided by drumming, singing, dancing, or occasionally psychotropic drugs, to commune with spirits. Such beliefs date back to hunter-gatherer societies. Quote, we talk about prostitution being the oldest profession, but really, it's shamanism.
Oh.
Says Simon Buxton of the Sacred Trust, a shamanic training center, and random, not good enough reason to bring up prostitution, Simon. The shamanism has a long history. It was barely practiced in Britain until recently. In the English and Welsh census of 2011, just 650 people said it was their religion. But its popularity is increasing in the census of 2021, the results of which were released in November. That figure had increased to 8,000. Partly because the numbers are so small, that makes shamanism Britain's fastest growing religion. Faith. Alexander Alec, who researches the subject at Birmingham University, says its appeal cuts across age, race, and class. One reason is climate change.
Oh, is that the explanation? Climate change.
Of course it is. Okay. One reason is climate change. Almost 1 in 20 Britons said they experienced climate anxiety in 2022.
I wonder why. I wonder who's causing the anxiety.
How wouldn't you? How could you not? We were told every day that we're going to die of climate change. Shamanism places all things in nature on equal footing. Paganism, another religion rooted in nature, is also on the rise. Quote, it gives people a spiritual outlet for political beliefs about climate change, says Mr. Buxton. And this is what really struck me.
Yeah.
That right there. It gives people a spiritual outlet for political beliefs about climate change. So there's a long, broad conversation, in the U.S. about Christianity and conservative politics, which came first, what informs the other, but in sort of a different way here in the UK, the religion is coming after. At least if you follow the numbers. There's only 650 shamans or shamanistic people 13 years ago, whatever. And now there's 8,000, which is an incredible rise percentage-wise. And what else has happened in the past 10 years? Well, the sort of alarmism or the data or the whatever you want to call it. The attention is what it is. The attention on climate change has become more and more prevalent. In fact, honestly, sort of a daily trauma, a daily trigger. No matter where you are, who you are, what you watch or listen to, somebody's talking about climate change. And it kind of goes back to a conversation we've been sort of having in bits and pieces through this whole episode, which is policy. Policy, and the sort of social engineering of beliefs, people's cares, people's worries, people's everything. For me, it's robots, but for a lot of people, it's climate change. And if this data is to be believed, it looks like if you strike enough fear into people about climate change, they become pagans. That's just sort of what the data shows. I mean, much like how, I don't know, you could, put enough fear into people about hell, maybe, or something.
Balloons.
Eternal life. Balloons. You can,
we joke,
push,
but it's the truth there.
Totally. You can push people to, align with Christianity in the same way that it's this political belief about climate change that leads to a spiritual outlet of shamanism. Just very interesting cause and effect issue there. A small but growing number of therapists integrate shamanism into their work, which I thought was kind of weird. I was speaking with somebody a couple days ago, and they said, my therapist thinks that I've lived multiple lives.
Oh, boy.
And I thought, that's a pretty weird therapist. That's a weird...
That's a therapist on drugs.
Well, whatever. Lots of people can believe that. Sure. But to have it come up in a therapeutic session where it's supposed to be very science, supposed to be very... they're effectively a doctor of sorts. Sure. You go to your doctor, what if you went to your physician and they're like, yes, I see you have this ailment. It must have been because you were bad in your previous life.
It's a great template. Sure. You can pretty much do anything with it. You can go anywhere.
Anyways, a small but growing number of therapists integrate shamanism into their work. They might guide a lonely client to embody the energy of a tree and reconnect with nature. Oh, are you lonely? Oh, I've seen this before. Pretend you're a tree. Still lonely? Didn't think so. Says Paul Francis, a psychotherapist who teaches shamanic counseling at the Three Ravens College of Therapeutic Shamanism in Wales. It would be Wales. They might also help patients with soul loss. That's in quotes, soul loss. What others would call post-traumatic stress disorder. Oh. I love that. What others would call PTSD. Okay. By searching for a lost part of them in the spirit realm. Even the corporate world is interested. Sarah Nagus, a shamanic business coach, not a real job, has ministered to everyone from Microsoft executives to TEDx speakers. Thought that word ministered was very interesting while we're deconstructing this, sort of giving a Western spin on shamanic business coaching. But popularity can attract opportunists. The title shaman is unregulated, so anyone can claim it. Quote, it's become a buzzword in marketing, says Mr. Alec. Maybe we should try that out, Gonz.
Canary cry shamans.
Think we can just use the word shaman a little bit more? I'm a robo shaman. Quote, that's what's next. A techno shaman?
Yeah.
Quote, a lot of people don't understand what it means. They just slap it on anything. End of the article. Short article. Seemed jam-packed with some interesting keywords, though. But I think the long and short of it is not only does the data show that shamanism is growing in popularity, it does sort of parallel the growth in Wiccan theology and witchcraft in the U.S. and in the UK, actually. But it is the age of re-enchantment. The Carl Teichrieb, this is the reason why Burning Man research has been a part of what we do now, have done for 10, 11 years almost, is because Carl Teichrieb, who is a incredible author and researcher, we've certainly talked to him many times if anybody's followed us, also Ravel, we had him on, talked about the age of re-enchantment, where the secular world is so thirsty for meaning and spirituality, they just don't like Christianity. And so to see such, shamanism might not seem so extreme today, but that's a fairly new thing. I mean, shamanism is pretty obscure. It's a pretty obscure sort of spiritual tradition for white Brits to get interested in. Maybe more sort of European paganism might be more popular, but straight up shamanism is a pretty interesting one. But it goes along the lines of the growth in psychedelic medicine, not only becoming extremely popular, but now legal around the world. Any thoughts on that?
Well, no, not really. I mean,
yeah,
it's not
okay,
surprising.
We can move on.
UK, isn't the UK also where they have a lot of alien beliefs? More people believe in aliens than God. Wasn't that a thing they figured out a few years ago? Yeah. So it's once you create the vacuum, you remove God from the picture, create a vacuum. You can install a new worldview, and it seems like shamanism or some kind of nature-based paganism is fulfilling that gap, so to speak, and it's beneficial to the controllers because it aligns with certain political ideologies and things of that nature.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. The conversation in Christianity about is Christianity and the existence of aliens, are they mutually exclusive? Mm-hmm. And for the most part, most people agree, yes, that there are no aliens, they're demons, and any sort of alien revelation or alien disclosure is deceit because they're not extraterrestrial. Yeah. At best, they're interdimensional, which still qualifies as demonic in some ways. But I don't think shamanism has any problem with aliens. I think it would totally slip right in. In fact,
I think they might be contacting aliens in their whole.
Yeah, right. I think they would consider. Now, I think it's important that we recognize the difference between New Age and shamanism. Mm-hmm. New Age is not necessary. New Age is New Age. Okay, New Age, they're all about aliens. They're all about all that stuff. And it might not be the most important thing in your entire life to know the difference, but I think it helps not just with when understanding, but also talking with people in your life. If you have anybody into these things, if you sort of equate New Age with shamanism, with witchcraft, with whatever, it's just not going to work very well. It kind of comes across as ignorant. But shamanism being sort of, sort of older, obviously it's much, much older than New Age, hence the name New. I don't know how deep I actually want to get into that right now, but it's an interesting thing. We need to keep moving, but maybe we should do. We've been discussing, Gonz. We've been discussing putting together sort of standalone, topical, almost like classes on stuff, mm-hmm. And making them available. We've been talking about that for years. Never done it. This is part of why we want to see how many people can sign up for monthly support, because part of what we want to do is create like evergreen informational things. Mm-hmm. But that's hard to do when we spend 30 hours a week making this podcast. So anyways, if you want to know more about that, send us an email or support the show. All right, what do you got, Gonz?
Let's do some beast system here.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Some overlap with Afrofuturism.
We're going to
colonize
Africa! Yeah!
This is biometricupdate.com, and the headline, NEC and partners reports early success with neonatal biometric vaccine management system. A mouthful there. A biometric,
yeah, sounds exciting.
A biometric vaccination management program for newborn children has been jointly developed by NEC, the Kenya Medical Research Institute, and Japan's Nagasaki University, and the results of a trial are beginning to roll in. The partners say that early results from the clinical trial started last September at Kinango Sub-County Hospital in Kwale are highly encouraging. The trial runs until March 2023. A system provided by NEC combines fingerprint biometrics for children with voice recognition for caregivers to confirm their identities and manage vaccination histories and schedules. Infants' fingerprints are enrolled when they receive their first vaccination, including immediately after delivery. A novel authentication method is used based on matches of fingerprint data from multiple fingers. The newborn's thumb and 3 other fingers are enrolled and compared with a special biometric scanner, according to the announcement. They've got this little diagram here that's got the whole thing, a registration and whatnot, and the numbers and blah, blah, blah. The trial consists of 1,000 caregivers and newborns, 300 of whom were registered by the end of November 2022. The vaccination management system will be used to track the administration of 8 vaccines and 1 supplement up to 24 months after birth. Voice and fingerprint data will be deleted at the conclusion of the trial, the partners say. The partners plan to carry out tests of the biometric system with a network of multiple hospitals, and full-scale introduction across Kenya could be completed by the end of 2023. See, the numbers don't match up. If they're 24 months after birth, they're going to track, but then they're going to delete all data after it's completed at the end of 2023. I don't know. I'm not that great at math, Basil, but it doesn't seem like it adds up. Quote, I expect this vaccination management system, including newborn fingerprint biometric technology, will expand the coverage of vaccination for children under 24 months old through accurate identification methods for mothers and children in Kenya. I also express great expectations for this research to act as a guideline for precise vaccination management featuring newborn and caregiver identification to become an important contributor to universal health coverage, end quote, says Professor Miriam Kamadi-Ware, laureate of the first Hideo Noguchi Africa Prize. Ooh, there's a lot going on there. The project is intended to support UN, that's the United Nations, SDG, that's Sustainable Development Goals 16.9, to provide legal identity and birth registration for all, as well as SDG 3.2 to end preventable deaths among newborns and children under 5 and reduce neonatal mortality. I ranted and raved about UN SDG 16.9 specifically for years, talking about the development of the biometric system, especially in Africa. And here we are. They're actually rolling out the tests. And it looks like so far so good for the folks doing all the testing. The partners have worked together on biometrics for neonatal health in Kenya since 2019. NEC also recently engaged with Sinolo as it works on commercializing infant biometrics in hospitals in the Americas.
Wow.
And the company has worked with Simprints and Gavi in sub-Saharan Africa.
Nice little Bill Gates gig there.
Yep. And so there you go. That's, I mean, straight up, this is like a Face Like the Sun video from 2014. But also, along with that, we have the Washington Post being mirrored on Yahoo News. Goodbye passport stamps. Hello biometrics. Customs is getting faster.
Uh-oh.
At the Cancun International Airport in Mexico, clearing passport control can take less time than ordering a frozen drink at the Margaritaville bar in Terminal 3. The Riviera Maya Airport, which received a record 30 million passengers last year, introduced electronic gates last fall as part of a pilot program aimed at expediting the international arrival process. The trial was deemed a success and talks about e-gates and yada, yada, yada. The automated passport control machines are one of several innovations and programs that governments and airports are introducing to streamline and speed up the entry and exit process. The downside, no more passport stamps. And then in parentheses, if you are worried about biometrics invading your privacy, you can always go the old-fashioned route. Though remember that your passport and boarding pass contain a wealth of personal information. It's just as bad the old
trying
way.
So hard.
So you should do the new way because it's faster. Quote, your digital ID could become a way to move you through the airport, Flint said, and yada, yada, yada with the e-gates and so on. It's getting pretty blatant. You know, they're really, time is of the essence to get the whole infrastructure up. You know, they got the trials running, but eventually they're just going to have to say, it's just better. We just paper doesn't even matter.
I'm just gonna say it's just required.
Yeah, paper stuff
doesn't matter
old.
if you like it or don't like it. This is the only system we have.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, that's all they have to do is just say, nope, we don't even have the old paper system anymore. You're out of luck.
It's like cash. Some places don't take cash anymore. It'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
You won't be able to go the old-fashioned way. Maybe you and I will be those people. But I got the passport right here. And they're like, but we don't have your fingerprint. It's like, you don't get my fingerprint. Okay. Anyway. By the way, part of the legal identity for all, so the exact verbiage of SDG 16.9 is by 2030, provide legal identity for all, including birth registration. And I warned at the time, I was like, this is I expected this to be part of part of the messaging will be eventually as time goes on. Hey, we've got to really completely eliminate child trafficking. It's a problem around the world. And the only way to do that is to provide, number one, provide legal identity for everybody and have some kind of birth registration in our database, because otherwise they don't exist. You know, there's a very interesting thing happening there, which leads me to one last story related to this. ABC News, first infant in Kentucky surrendered anonymously at baby box. Have you heard about the baby box?
Yeah, they've had these all over the place for a while, haven't they?
Yeah, this was published on February 11th at 11:11 a.m. Interesting. Bowling Green, Kentucky. Kentucky has seen the first infant anonymously dropped off at one of its baby box safe surrender locations. At a news conference Friday, Safe Haven Baby Box's founder and CEO Monica Kelsey said the child was dropped off within the last 7 days at a Bowling Green Fire Department location, declining to be more specific to protect anonymity. She said fire department staff was able to tend to the child in less than 90 seconds. The child is the 24th in the country to be surrendered at one or more than 130 baby boxes and drawers the organization has established across 9 states. So, you know, this is going to be interesting to see what kind of identification these babies get, because if they're, there's anonymity involved, but also,
they're in the system.
They're just going to be plopped right into the system and marked and numbered and the whole deal. So it'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds, but it does not look like it's going in a good direction. These young people doing crazy things, Basil. Just to kind of wrap up this segment here, I do want to bring this just because, I need a Japanese nemesis, Basil. I need an enemy to target. I need an adversary in my league, in my lane.
Just to feel something?
Just to fight someone.
Oh, okay.
The New York Times.
For honor.
Yeah, New York Times. A Yale professor suggested mass suicide for old people in Japan. What did he mean?
Seems like a bit of a leading question, doesn't it?
Okay, now first off, this guy, he's Japanese, and the picture of him at the top of this, he's wearing a purplish kind of jacket thing, which, whatever. The jacket is whatever, kind of stylish, whatever. But his glasses one frame is a circle and the other frame is a square.
Mm-hmm.
So he's I don't know. I don't know what the message is there is other than I'm futury. I'm
is it triggering? Is it triggering you? The symmetry, the asymmetry is.
No, I just want to smash his eyeballs because it reminds me of a video game controller. You got the circle and the square.
Oh, yeah.
Start poking at it.
It's gonna have that feel. Yeah, that's funny.
It says here his pronouncement could hardly sound more drastic. In interviews and public appearances, Yusuke Narita, an assistant professor of economics at Yale, has taken on the question of how to deal with the burdens of Japan's rapidly aging society. Quote, I feel like the only solution is pretty clear, he said during one online news program in late 2021. Quote, in the end, isn't it mass suicide and mass seppuku of the elderly? Seppuku is an act of ritual disembowelment that was a code among dishonored samurai in the 19th century. Last year, when asked by a school-aged boy to elaborate on his mass seppuku theories, Dr. Narita graphically described to a group of assembled students a scene from Midsummer, a 2019 horror film in which a Swedish cult sends one of its oldest members to commit suicide by jumping off a cliff. Quote, Whether that's a good thing or not, that's a more difficult question to answer, Dr. Narita told the questioner as he assiduously scribbled notes, quote, "So if you think that's good, then maybe you can work hard toward creating a society like that," end quote. At other times, he had broached the topic of euthanasia, quote, "The possibility of making it mandatory in the future," he said in one interview, "will," quote, "come up in discussion." Dr. Narita, 37, said that his statement had been, quote, "taken out of context," and that he was mainly addressing a growing effort to push the most senior people out of leadership positions in business and politics to make room for younger generations. Nevertheless, his comments on euthanasia and social security, he has pushed the hottest button in Japan. And he goes on here and talks about, just sort of his celebrity being pushed into the spotlight for making his comments. He did say this, quote, "I should have been more careful about their potential negative connotations," about the seppuku thing and the mass suicide. He added, quote, "After some self-reflection, I stopped using the words last year." He stopped using the words.
Don't even use those words.
Some other people talked about how it's irresponsible of him to do that. Masato Fujisaki, a columnist, argued in Newsweek Japan, sticking their head in the international game, that the professor's remarks, quote, "should not be easily taken as a metaphor." Dr. Narita's fans, Mr. Fujisaki said, are people, quote, "who think that old people should just die already and social welfare should be cut." Despite a culture of deference to older generations, ideas about calling them have surfaced in Japan before, and yada, yada, yada. This is kind of an old trope in Japan. And certainly, generationally, it's been tradition that the young people take care of the elderly. It's sort of an honorable thing to do. That's part of the Japanese culture. But that's sort of gone to the wayside as Japan has gotten more technological and westernized and postmodernized and all that kind of stuff. And now we have all the robots are deployed in the hospitals, the emotional robots, companion robots, I think they were called. We had a story several episodes ago, Flippy Update, that talked about, maybe years ago even, where some of the software was expiring on the robots that were companionship type robots for the Japanese elderly. And so they had to burying them in the backyard and stuff. It was just pretty sad to see. So, I think it's interesting. I think this Dr. Narita guy is a worthy villain. He will haunt my dreams and I will fight him with my dream katana.
Does he put out content? Is he a public figure?
I think he has a book or something, and he's definitely out there. Maybe we can do a debate in Japanese.
Yeah, got to keep an eye out for him.
The book he wrote is being translated into English, of course, now that he's got all kinds of popularity.
Ah, he has a book out.
He does have a book. Of course he does.
Where's your book?
It's being written now.
Yes, of course.
So there you go.
Sounds good. We'll keep an eye on this guy. We'll see if he changes the shapes of either of his eyeball glasses. Yeah. That'll be fun. Maybe you should get some, maybe you do opposite. If he has a circle and a square, you do square and a circle, or triangle.
Triangle. That'll really trigger everybody.
I don't know. Go the shape of the balloons. You have an octagonal balloon.
I got a cylinder
and a
one.
Cylindrical balloon.
Yeah. And one just
that'll send a message.
Just a balloon on my eye.
Let him come to you. That's the real key.
This is a break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content. Sorry, I stepped on you again. Just stepping all over you.
I was just going to push you into it. So you got it. You got the message.
All right. We're going to take a moment to thank our producers who come in with their talent, contributing with your God-given talent. If you get value out of the show, provide value back by helping us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to start off with SpeakPipe.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. Any page on that website, you will see a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Just click on it. It'll give you a little pop-up window that allows you to record a message of up to 90 seconds, and it will be sent to us, and we shall determine to play it or not. We have the power. Today, we have a message from Rochelle.
Happy Monday, Canary Cry team. I have a prayer that I envision could be prayed by the victims of satanic ritual abuse that perhaps took place this past Super Bowl Sunday. Those of you who don't know about the dark side of Super Bowl, get informed and pray against it. I shall not die, but live to tell about the light. In the name of Jesus the Christ, bring me some perfect peace. Let your light shine upon me. Declare your power in that prophecy, where you frustrate the enemy. Break the curses of this family. Tear down the serpent's walls. And as I wait for Satan to fall, bring some glory to your great name. And let them perish in perfect shame. Amen. Stay strong for Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle. And yeah, we'll call upon the producers.
Producers, assemble!
Yeah, praying for anybody who got the mind control after the Super Bowl there. Maybe, come to their senses and snap out of it. Snap out of the Rihanna baby Antichrist.
Yeah, speaking of which, was trending on Twitter, active shooter. Apparently there's like a number of active shooters right now.
I did notice a few shooting stories in the last couple days. There was like 12 shot or something.
Well, we have one every day, multiple a day here in the U.S.
Yeah, can't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's worried about the balloons there. All right, so let's do some audio production. Where's my jingle? Why is my audio production jingle not working? Here we go. Let's try it again. Audio production. There we go.
Audio production.
All right, we got some audio to share with y'all. We're going to start off with Marty B.
Biden's your Marty B jingle.
Marty B has sent a note. Hope you can see this. There's a place with a suspense sound where you could overlay some of other Antarctica sounds. Would you please forward the short version glorified to Sir Darren? Oh, that's a personal note there. Would you play Jesus, My Savior at the end of the show? Thank you, Marty B. Marty B had the Antarctica bumper master. Very nice. Yeah, we'll add that to the mix.
Very fun little bumper.
Then he has the short version of Glorify. I'll play a few seconds of that. Listeners are familiar with this track. We'll play the end of it at the end.
Well, I think that's the one he just wanted you to forward to somebody else.
Yeah, I know, but it's still there. And it's good. All right. Okay. There you go. Thank you very much, Marty B, for your contributions. Ongoing. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to Jonathan F.
Jonathan
F had a couple things he sent in. He's got a note here. Hello, guys. Just thought it was nice that Sleepy Joe lowered the price of...
Make no mistake. If you try anything to raise the cost of precision jobs, I will veto it.
Fun. Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
He's got another one here. Hello, guys. Just thought we needed some soft lo-fi to stay calm with all the World War III rumors and negativity in the media. The verses featured in the jingle are Deuteronomy 131, Isaiah 46:4, and 91:11-2. God bless and enjoy. This is 32 seconds.
And in the wilderness, where you have seen how the Lord your God carried you, as a man carries his son, all the way that you went until you came to this place. Even to your old age, I am he, and to gray hairs I will carry you. I have made, and I will bear. I will carry and will save. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Ooh,
I like the
Ivy.
lo-fi.
Yeah.
Need to loop it.
Love it.
All right. Good job there, Jonathan F. Appreciate it. We got one more piece of audio from Little Owen. Here's a note here. Keep looking up, brothers and sisters. Our redemption is drawing near. And he has a Robo Flippy song. Won't play the whole thing right now. I'll play it at the end. But here's a few seconds of it here. Love the retro vibe there.
Yeah, that's sick.
Very good. Thank you very much, Lil Owen. Again, we'll play the whole thing at the end of the show mix here. And that's it for audio producers. Thank you for all your contributions.
Nice, a nice batch there.
Yeah. We also got some art.
One art, please.
And of course, this is from Sir Dove, Knight of Resbeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
Here's a note. It says, peace for this week's Bible artwork. I did an illustration for Psalm 145, verse 8. The Lord is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins. Dove, P.S. The photo of the lake was from the Rusbeltia Feast of Tabernacles meetup from a couple months back, with a special shout out to the 2 fish families from the feast. There you go. Shout out to the fishes, which makes sense as artwork.
Yes, that's the salmons. I know salmons is one of those fish families.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a beautiful picture of the lake. What lake is it? Did they say what lake
Rusbeltia.
No. Rusbeltia, that was the
Feast
meetup.
of Tabernacles. It just said a lake from the Rusbeltia Feast of Tabernacles. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a beautiful lake. And we have a little green little fish or big fish jumping out of the lake. Dove added here. And across the horizon in the skyline, it says, what is the letters for Yahweh called again? Isn't there a theological name for it? I forget what it was, but it's
or something.
That's what I was gonna say. I wasn't sure if that was right though. Yeah, it's just the tetragrammaton there. Yahweh is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love. Very nice. Thank you, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. And yeah, I see that little shadow you made there of the fish on the water. It's the details that Dove is able to carry this stuff. Thank you, Sir Dove.
Thank you very much. Marty B, we played Marty B's jingle, right?
Yeah, the Antarctica jingle?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think he missed it. He was asked about it, and then Johnny said we have not played it, but we did play it.
Yeah.
Played it
we'll play it again for our Antarctica segment, so yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, there's like a whole conversation about it. We just played it, guys. Yeah. But we will also play it at the end of the show, I believe.
Yep. So there you go. That's the only art piece we have for today. Okay. We do have a couple microfictions, so let's do that.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
This first one is from Runk Smash.
The chaplain guides the psychonauts into the sensory deprivation tank. If you get into trouble, call on him. Are you sure you're ready? The psychonaut gives a thumbs up. The chaplain shuts the door just before a sickly green beam scans the room.
Oh, it's those Chinese spy satellites and their green lasers.
Chinese eco lasers, yeah. Thank you very much, Rank Smash.
Thank you, Rank Smash. All right, one more from Stephen S.
On a video call with agents, Chief announces, We'll set up an escort service, honeypot in Davos. I'll need a lady agent. In one pane, Duke waves his hand like a third grader, eagerly asking, "Don't you mean team member?" Chief reluctantly sighs, "Yes."
The struggles even within those organizations. Thank you very much, Stephen S.
Yep, and thank you to all of our creative producers. If you're a creative person out there, no matter what you do, head on over to canarycry.art. Create something for the show. Head on over to canarycry.art. You can upload it there, get it on the show. That's a great way to add some value back into the show. Canarycry.art. Beep, 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 bop, a boo.
So a new discovery.
Antarctica.
Penguins. This is also a Nephilim update. It's from Futurism.
Yeah, thank you to
Bite.
Thank you to everybody who sent this in. We had it's nice to know we got producers keeping an eye out. When they see that some sort of demon penguin story hits the mainstream, they know just what to do with it.
Yeah. The headline here is "Fearsome Prehistoric Penguin Weighed as Much as an Adult Gorilla." The subheading here: "Once you know you're not flying anymore, the sky's the limit."
Dun, dun, dun.
Today, New Zealand is known for its diverse and unique populations of birds, especially seabirds, forest dwellers, and non-aerial aves, like the country's quintessential kiwi. But those are small fry. Researchers have now discovered an extinct species of penguin native to the island that was absolutely massive, weighing as much as an adult gorilla or even a mid-sized black bear. Crikey! Quote, "Once you know you're not flying anymore, the sky's the limit," study author Danielle Ksepka, a paleontologist at the Bruce Museum, told the New York Times. The paleontologist first unearthed the bones in 2017, along with a more complete skeleton of a smaller species that was still considerably larger than modern penguins. But it wasn't until now, in a new study published this week in the Journal of Paleontology, that the researchers fully revealed the juicy details and gave the big boy a name. Kumimanu Fortisai. That's not a great name. Kumimamu Fortisai. According to NYT, it's a combination of Maori words for monster and bird, which sounds about right. They used 3D models derived from a cast of Kumimamu's colossal femur to determine that the monster bird weighed 340 pounds. Determining its height proved more difficult and uncertain, but researchers estimate that it stood as a stout 5 feet 2 inches. 5'2", 340? That thing, you're not moving that thing. Meanwhile, the smaller penguin named Petrodiptis weighed in at 110 pounds. For comparison, the large extant penguin, the emperor penguin, grows only to 4 feet tall at most and some 88 pounds. Ksepka explained to the New York Times that these giant penguins thrived during a post-dinosaur extinction period when there were less formidable aquatic predators that could challenge them. Quote, "If you're a little 1-pound penguin, a gull can just rip your head off," he told the outlet. But a 300-pound penguin is not going to worry about a seagull landing near it because it would just crush it. How much do these guys get paid to talk about how small penguins can die, but big penguins won't? In addition to making them untouchable, Ksepka added their hefty sizes may have made them more proficient deep-sea divers that could stay warmer for longer, like in seabirds. However, the Kumami and the Petrodiptis still retained vestigial characteristics of their aerial ancestors in their flippers, aka their quondam wings. In other words, their flippers weren't as developed as those of modern penguins, which goes to show that penguins got bigger before they got better at swimming. So they became Nephilim first, is what you're saying. Does that mean there could have been even more Titanic penguins roaming the seas? Unfortunately, probably not. Said Gerald Mayer, a paleontologist who was not involved in the study. Yeah, don't even comment. Why are you even in here, Gerald Mayer? Not even part of the study, so your comments mean nothing.
Go find some big penguins, then we can talk.
Quote, I believe the Kumimanu is close to the upper limit of a flightless seabird, and I do not expect substantially larger penguins to be found, he told the New York Times.
I should have asked him if he expected this giant penguin.
I know. I mean, yeah, did they expect a 5'2", 300? I mean, basically Danny DeVito in a penguin suit is what this is.
All my life, I knew that there was a 5'2", 300-pound penguin. I knew this. I could tell it in my bones. My instincts were correct. But this far, no further. There couldn't possibly be a bigger penguin. You know, you're not watching The Last of Us, are you?
No, I'm not. I don't have the HBO.
Yeah, zombie show. It's a big hit right now.
Yeah, we talked about the fungus stuff, right?
Yeah, quick little spoiler alert, beep, beep, bop, boop, boop. It's not the biggest deal in case you are watching it, but I will give you 3 more seconds to skip ahead. They revealed in this last episode that there are, get this, bigger zombies. Whoa, there's zombies, there's regular zombies, and then there's bigger zombies. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about this penguin. It just doesn't seem like he had much going on, except for he was much bigger, much better.
What was he eating?
The zombie or the penguin?
Well, the penguins, the Nephilim penguins. Were they eating a bunch of fish?
Were
they eating the seagulls?
Maybe smaller, weaker penguins. I don't know. Maybe they ate smaller penguins and gained their power.
Were their brains bigger?
I think these penguins are not extinct. They have left the earth. They have, because as the animal grows, the brain grows, and they're in Antarctica, so they're having a lot of one-on-one contact with interdimensional beings and sort of breakaway civilizations.
Yeah, taking their mushrooms.
I think these giant penguins, they got taken back to the nether realms or something. I have a hard time believing that anything on Earth could kill such a primordially advanced creature.
Yeah, the whole the penguin pineal gland thing starts to make sense now. It's all coming together.
Yeah, big pineal gland on this sucker.
Pineal glands, yeah.
Big, juicy pineal gland. Yum, yum, yum. Eat it all up.
Okay, on that note, I think we're done with the show.
Okay, sounds good.
Tasty, fatty pineal gland for dinner, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, don't do it, folks. Don't do it. It's not for you.
It's not worth it.
It's not for you, and nothing good can come of it. Oh man, we went late today.
It's
that's
long,
okay.
man. It's late.
Yeah,
I got to get home.
Late start, late end. That's okay. And we're so grateful to all of our producers keeping the show going. Couldn't do without you. Thank you again to our executive producer Liam S. For coming in at the last second, saving the show. And thank you to all our very, very most important people in the entire world, the new members of the Canary Cry T-Shirt Council. If you're interested in keeping the show going, want to put some value back in, we picked out this 1984 price point that works. We can make shirts on that, and it also goes a long way to keeping us going. Canary Cry T-Shirt Council.com, or find it at canarycry.party. Yeah, check it out. For some reason, I thought there was another person to thank here at the end. There wasn't. But thank you to all of the T-Shirt Council members. You are truly a head above the rest. But we do have some other producers who produce the show with their time, which, as we know, is invaluable, and they can never get it back. So we appreciate it very much. Starting with our Clippies.
Clippy on those videos. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you to Emsworth and Faye Liverin, keeping the Canary Cry Clips channel alive. Go subscribe to it on YouTube if you haven't already. It's also over there on Odyssey. They are clipping shows. Right now, they are busy little bees clipping out social clips that you can find on social media because the Clips channel is currently suspended. So if you like those clips that are on our social, hit the like button, hit the heart, whatever, share it with your friends, and then also make sure to thank Emsworth and Faye Liverin. They are still looking for someone to help them. No video editing experience required. I think specifically they're looking for someone to help them schedule some social media post stuff. So if you're out there, you've been trying to find a way to get involved with the show, help us out. It helps us out so much. And not only will you be helping out the show and Gonz and myself, but you'll be helping out other Canarians. And honestly, that's one of the most heartwarming things I've ever said. So go check it out. And thank you to the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Very important job, very important job. And our producer, Jade Bouncerson, time-stamped episode 589. It's really incredible that Jade has stayed so faithful in the midst of a lack of help. That's right, Jade. Jade, you angel. We need to find some timestampers to help Jade. So, again, if you're looking to get involved with the show and help us out, that would be incredibly altruistic of you. And not, you know what? Altruism is dead. You're helping the show, which means you're helping yourself. Send us an email, canarycryradio@gmail.com. And thank you to our social media gal.
Social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media, follow us.
Thanks to Dame Miss G, the OV, and the Deep River for making sure the art gets on the social. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's next?
Reviews.
Meetups.
Meetups.
Nope.
Canary Cry Meetup.
CanaryCryMeetups.com. We have an EU meetup in Germany on the 18th of February. The contact email is now there, and the time is now there. If you are in the EU and you are within striking distance of Germany, Passau, Germany specifically, go to this meetup on the 18th. That would be awesome. You can get more info there at CanaryCryMeetups.com. We also announcing the Alaska meetup.
Ooh.
I believe this is the very first Canary Cry Alaska meetup. It's the Canary Cry balloon shooting.
I was going to say, yeah, go balloon hunting.
They didn't call it that, but I might be unofficially naming it the Canary Cry balloon shooting meetup. Let's see here. This is being put on by No Memprunte. It's Saturday on March 11th. Right, 311. Yeah, March 11th at 3:33 p.m. Alaska Standard Time, which I did not know was a thing. So sorry, Alaska, I didn't know you had your own time. Eagle River, Alaska. The venue is to be determined, but they are waiting to get some RSVPs before choosing which venue. So if you're in Alaska, or even northern Canada, if you're in that area at all, March 11th, email SBBOH at hotmail.com. SBBOH at hotmail.com. Get in touch. Just ask about the meetup. It'll be awesome. I'm excited for this one. This one should be fun. I don't know how many Canarians we have in Alaska, but it has got to be more than one. And whenever two or more are gathered, there is Canary Cry and Jesus.
Whoa. Let's not.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Eagle River. I don't know where that is, but Eagle River, Alaska. Okay, go to it, folks. The info is not. Is that up on?
It's not
meetups?
up yet. No,
it's not. Okay, that'll be up soon.
Yeah.
But email sbboh at hotmail.com. And if you're looking for any other meetups, head to canarycrymeetups.com and see if there are any scheduled near you. If there's not, put one on yourself. Be like No Memprunte. Just pick a time, pick a place, let us know about it, and people will come. there's Canarians all over the world, man.
Yep.
CanariTryMeetups.com. Ooh, somebody in the chat says Eagle River, Alaska. That's where I'm from.
Ooh.
Yeah. Better go home. Better go to the thing. But I am learning it's outside of Anchorage. Eagle River is outside of Anchorage, Alaska. Okay. Ratings and reviews. Leave us some ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. It's so helpful. It means so much to us. And we love it.
I laugh because according to my page here, not only did we not reach our goal last week, we did not even move the needle. It's at the same spot as it was before we asked for a goal.
Yeah, no, sad. We have not gotten any ratings or reviews. I don't know, man.
I blame Apple. I think Apple wants a cut.
Well,
they want 60%.
I'm happy about this. I'm ecstatic because I specifically told everybody not to leave ratings and reviews. So please don't leave ratings and reviews, because if you did, I would be so mad. I'd be so mad that I would have to really think of some way to embarrass you in front of all your friends. Maybe I'd get a whoopee cushion or something. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm very creative.
Yeah.
And don't make me angry, because you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. So don't leave ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, please. If anybody does that, I'll be angry. Okay. That's it. Thanks, Jam, for the links. I think Runk Smash sent us some links too. I'm working on putting a link, a story portal, kind of like the art portal. A story. What is the word I'm looking for? A lot of people send us links. They send us stories. They send us all sorts of stuff. It's really hard to keep track of. But I'm working on a thing on our website where if you have something you want to send to us, this will be the best way to do it. I'll keep you posted. Thanks, Clank, for keeping track of the Red Book and also all the other cool stuff Clank is doing. And it's just assistance. Thank you for the assistance, Clank. Other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your mom, your dad, your family, your friends, your penguins. Share them with the big penguins. Share it with the small penguins. Share the show on your social media. It's very helpful. But not everybody wants to do that in the normal way. Nobody wants to leave ratings and reviews anymore. Apparently that's too passé for the normal cool Canarian. So instead, why don't you try something different? Just try something a little bit different. It doesn't have to do with balloons. It doesn't have to do with balloon-shaped things. You know, one thing that we all learned recently is that balloons can be many different shapes: octagons, cylinders, fighter jets, penguins, shamans. Okay, so we're talking about techno shamans. Mm-hmm. I think somebody can become a podcast shaman. I think that's a thing. I think, podcasts are such a big part of people's lives now, and people really need spiritual guidance. Spiritual guidance, what podcasts to listen to, what ones not to listen to, which ones to support. It's a hard world, and we're in the age of re-enchantment. We need to re-enchant podcasts. So as we learned from The Economist magazine, there is absolutely zero government regulation on using the word shaman. So I now bestoweth upon anyone listening to my voice right now the title, officially and henceforth respected, title of podcast shaman. Now go make a website or just start telling your friends. You'll instantly gain a level of respect that you never had before. It might go to your head. You might become drunk with power, but it is the quest of the shaman to traverse dimensions and worlds and bring back spiritual treasures and truths. And the treasure and truth that you're bringing back is that Canary Cry News Talk is the best podcast in the metaverse. And if you're not bringing back that message, you're a false shaman, bad podcast shaman.
There shall be false shamans and fake
charlatan.
shamans.
Yeah, charlatan shaman.
Yeah.
That's what you'll be called. And but I know you won't do that. I know that you will guide the secular masses one after the other to the truths and the true spiritual way that is Canary Cry News Talk. They're going to love it. You're going to love it, and you'll make a bunch of money. And isn't that what matters?
Hey, Basil,
other than that,
podcastshaman.com is taken.
You're a genius for checking. It did not even occur to me to check. And that's very interesting. I'm astounded.
.net is available.
Taken.
But yeah.
We might just want to grab the .net while we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Have you gone to podcastshaman.com?
Yeah. It
sounds like
kind of
somebody who is making an app.
Yeah, definitely. It just goes to like a, one of those. It's not a holding error page, but it's like a holding page.
Yeah, it's just parked. Somebody's got it parked. Yeah, they don't have it actually copywritten. They're
not a real shaman or a podcaster.
Yeah. Wow. See, folks, that's what I'm talking about. Unregulated. They're unregulating the claims of shamans.
Hey, podcaster is also an unregulated term, isn't it? Anybody can call themselves a podcaster. There's no.
You got to have a license. You got to have a license.
I did not know this. Do you have a podcast license?
Yeah, you at least have to have a podcast to be a podcaster, which technically is a bigger obstacle than calling yourself a shaman. So, look at this. 25 best shamanism podcasts to follow in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, just go become a podcast shaman and make a bunch of money, folks, and then produce the show. That's all I'm saying. And share the show. Share it with your friends, your family, put it on your mailbox, whatever you got to do. But other than that, just we call it rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shaman.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Right, just ask Noah. Any last words, Gonz?
Podcastshamans.com is available.
Get it. Or I'll get it. I have the account over here. I'll get it.
What about Shaman Pod or something different?
That's not good.
Okay. Fine.
Hold on. I keep typing in shaman when I'm trying to go to our domains thing. Got shaman on the mind, shaman on the brain. What's another one? Chat. Quick. You've got 3 seconds to pick another shaman-based URL.
AI Shaman? AIShaman.com?
Is that available?
I don't know. I'm looking. I doubt it.
Podcastshamans.com. Get it? Come on. Load the page. Here it is, folks. Podcastshamans.com now belongs to me. That's a whoopsies on their part. They should have known. You always get the plural version.
Yeah. Well, this shows how serious that guy is.
Yeah. Checking out podcastshamans.com. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
And in the wilderness, where you have seen how the Lord your God carried you, as a man carries his son, all the way that you went until you came to this place. Even to your old age, I am he, and to gray hairs I will carry you. I have made, and I will bear. I will carry, and will save. For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone.
Goodbye, everybody. And that's the end. And everyone says, oh, that was fun. Bye, 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 bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support